making history. Absolutely phenomenal.
And Ace is the champion of the Intel Extreme Masters World Finals.
Storm's still not quite done. MC is going to take this fight, though. 3 seconds left.
Last 2 rounds of match, it's got to start it well for ESC.
And this is a massive move for Zez, but he's not content with just a Nexus kill. He wants to win out.
And it's all done. And Strollin's winning.
Unbelievable Rogue with a 4-0 victory over Classic.
And they did it again in the grand finals. It's Gold!
Give it up for your Intel Extreme Masters World Champion!
And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another IEM Katowice 2024 broadcast. A broadcast of the group stage. I'm, of course, host like VIP, and with me, I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat, by these amazing players, and my plushies, Papi, my plushies. Welcome, welcome, everyone. It is good to be back, and as I did just mention, we have been going over the IEM Katowice group stage. We started last week. Last week, we went over Group A. And this week we are going over Group B. As a reminder, IEM Katowice was 3 weeks ago at this point, a couple of weeks ago at this point, and it was an amazing event. It was beautiful, it was amazing, and there was a lot going on at the time. A lot of matches going on at the same time, specifically in the group stage. The playoffs, I believe, were all on the main stream, but the group stage, there was a B and C stream as well. And I wasn't able to watch, I couldn't tune into any of it. I couldn't tune into any of it. So we are here to catch up on the matches that we missed out on. We are going to be skipping the matches that were on the main stream, and we're going over the side stream matches instead. And we're covering Group B today. Going over Group B, and we have quite a lot of matches ahead of us. We have Oliveira versus Stats in a TVP. We have a Bunny versus Shin in a Terran versus Zerg. Oliveira versus Bunny, TVT. Kira versus Bunny, and Shin versus Stats. As you can imagine, this is a round-robin stage, a round-robin group. We have Oliveira, Stats, Bunny, Shin, Cure. We have those lovely players ahead of us, and they're all going to be facing off against each other over and over again until they all do play against each other at least that one time. And then we, of course, have our players advancing on. We have our players advancing on from there. And I'm excited. I'm excited to bear witness to a lot of these players, especially players like Oliveira and Stats. Unfortunately, when it came to the mainstream, there were a lot of players that we weren't able to feature. Stats is one of them, for example, because he is a bit of a lower rated player currently. He did recently qualify for GSL. We casted him qualify for GSL, that is true, but he was one of the later players to qualify, and I mean, he did make it into IEM Katowice. Like, Stats has been able to prove that he is definitely a player worth paying attention to, but can he still take it to the caliber of players like Oliveira, like Cure, like Bunny, like Shin? That's what we're going to be finding out in GSL. And here, that's what we're going to be finding out here as well. So I'm ready for it. I'm excited. Again, we have 5 best of 3s. We're going to be diving into game 1. Going to be diving into our first series, Oliveira versus Stats in a TVP on Golden Aura. Let's go. Let us go. Again, for the next 2 days, we're going to be going over the IEM Katowice groups. For those that are maybe curious about the ESL Open Cup Americas, I still have yet to receive those replays. So once we do get them, we will be sorting out and setting up a replay cast, also for ESL Open Cup Americas as well, as that did take place a couple of days ago, like 2 days ago at this point, and we will be jumping on that as soon as we have those replays available. But here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have our Chinese Terran player, the reigning world champion, representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Oliveira. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss, the blue Protoss player himself, currently teamless. It is Stats. Here we go. again, Oliveira, our reigning world champion, still currently our world champion as well. Did of course come in last year out of nowhere, surprised so many people, including myself. I mean, everyone was in shock to see Oliveira pop off and to see Oliveira become our world champion, become the champion of IEM Katowice 2023. For those that maybe are unaware, IEM Katowice 2024 is no longer the world championship. So technically, Oliveira still has not been dethroned. Technically, he is still our reigning world champion, and still yet to determine who will claim that spot, as the world championship has been moved over to Saudi Arabia, has been moved over to Gamers 8, which has been rebranded as, I believe, the Esports World Cup. I believe it's the Esports World Cup. And they're going to be hosting esports events for many titles like StarCraft and others. I'm not too sure what. I think maybe like Rocket League, maybe CSGO, maybe. Not too familiar with them. But I'm sure other esports are also being held there as well. So there has been a bit of a shake-up in the hierarchy of tournaments and their importance as well. As a result, the season, the year of StarCraft has been extended. It means that we now have a DreamHack Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's a DreamHack Dallas on the horizon. There's also going to be the GSL as well. Just other events to give you the opportunity to gain points, to gain EPT points in the system, to gain a seed into that World Finals. Until then, though, we're getting into our TVP, and again, coming into this Oliveira, there's a lot of expectations on Oliveira to actually perform and to really show us what he's made of. It's been an unfortunate year. It's been a very unfortunate year for Oliveira, not because of his play, but because he hasn't been able to travel. He missed out on a couple of events. He missed out on DreamHack Yongshaping, and he missed out on Home Story Cup. These two events in Europe, unfortunately, Oliveira was not able to get a visa in time. His visa was delayed, or there were just, issues when it came to, complications when it came to actually getting it. By the time he got it, it was too late. And in the end, he just wasn't able to travel. He had to give up his seed. He had to give up his spots. And again, we just have seen less Oliveira as a result this year, or last year I should say, and it's such a shame. I know that Oliveira, he was feeling really demotivated because he couldn't travel, because he was missing out on these big premier events, and that really did slow down a lot of his momentum. But speaking of momentum, it's about to ramp up, because we are going for a very committed mine drop. That is an armory, by the way. It was the double gas opener into a 1-1-1. There is no natural base here for Oliveira. Very committed build, and we are moving out with our Widow Mines. Oh boy, this needs to get damage done. Oliveira committing so hard here to these mines. Back at home, stats opening up with a Twilight Council into Blink. It is going to be a 3-gate Blink opener. 1 gateway is done, 2 gateways are on the way here in the natural base, so we do have an abundance of Stalkers to work with, but how good is our reaction time? That is the question. We casted stats earlier in the GSL qualifiers, and he struggled to keep up with the mine drops. As they waddle into the natural base, they drop into the main. Damage is going to be done. He doesn't see the natural. No! Late reaction. Ooh, no retargeting. 4 probes go down for 4 Widow Mines, but detection is required. The Robo is still on the way. Widow Mines, one more does borrow. The other gets focused down, and it looks like they will reset. Again, we have the armory. Detection is needed to deal with this. The Robo is still in production. The Observer is still going to be chronoed out, which means we should get some more shots off. Stats, he does pull away. Up. Does pull away in time. Going to be losing a handful of probes. 4 probes go down. We lose a 5th probe here at the natural. Stats has minimized his losses. We're coming back in. We're coming back in. The medevac goes down, but we're going to get shots off. Oh my god. We got 2 workers in the middle line. We get another worker here towards the left-hand side. We have 1 more shot here at the natural as well. We have not gone off yet. There we go. 9 probes go down. Good damage, but remember, no natural base. Oliveira still needs to expand. He still needs to get back up and running. More shots going off. They don't stop. Oh my god. They do not stop. The Widow Mines just fanning out all over the place. They are spreading out. Stat's going to be able to focus on whatever he can. That's still going to be 12 more dead workers, and we have 3 more shots. Do we have a scan? We do not go for the scan. Observer does live, does survive, and we will clean this up as we come across the final Widow Mine. Oh. do avoid the shot, and I believe that's going to be, yeah, all of them cleaned up. We see Stats just double checking the corners of his base, making sure he didn't miss anything, and back at home, Oliveira is expanding. Now, as the dust does settle, fun fact, Stats is still ahead in probes. He's still ahead in workers. He still has his 3 gates set up. He can go for an expansion from here on. And Oliveira is getting into his 3-1-1 setup. Again, I think I want to give the edge to Stats in this position. Like, he's still got a decent worker count, lacking saturation in the main, but we're working on it. Oliveira, though, he is pushing. He doesn't want to allow Stats to recover. Stats has a good worker count, but what about the army? That's the thing. We're spending resources on probes, not on units, and as a result, Oliveira, he can still go for the kill. He is moving out. Stalkers, they do chip away at those Marines. They get 1, they get 2. 2 Marines do go down. Oliveira leapfrogging forward, does siege up. Does manage to get within range. Gateway is going to be going down. We do have another gateway explosion in the main base, but it's still in production. We dive on top of the tank. The first tank goes down. Good pick up. A good start here to the defense of Stats, but there's still one more tank behind this, and we're going for the other gateway. Yeah, the gateway will fall. 2 gates get picked up. Overcharge was spent. Stats trying to force his way in, but alas, Oliveira, he reinforces with another tank. He's breaking into the natural, depowers the robo. GG gets called, and Oliveira, he comes in, and he does take game number 1. GG. Again, the Widowmine drops were brutal. Specifically, the delayed robo was brutal. Because that delayed observer, we had so many probes going down, so many shots going off in favor of Oliveira. Even though Stats was able to recover, Oliveira, very smart, very wise move to, in the follow-up, in the aftermath of the mine drop, to go in with a double tank push, just to capitalize on the damage that was dealt and make sure that Stats did not recover from said damage. GG. GG, well played. Oliveira does kick things off with a win. We'll see if he can keep it up, though, because we are getting ready for game number 2. We're diving into Oceanborn. Let's go. Let us go. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have our South Korean Protoss player. The blue Protoss representing himself down in this series, looking to fight back, looking to redeem himself. Can we force that ace match? The pressure is on. It is Stats. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Chinese Terran player, the red Terran representing CranKy Gaming. It is Oliveira. Also, I see in the chats, Furajin's saying Oliveira got lucky. I don't think that's a very apt way of putting Oliveira's run in IEM Katowice. Maybe you didn't watch it, maybe you don't watch much StarCraft, it's possible. But saying that his run was lucky is, yeah, I don't think that's accurate whatsoever. At the time, Oliveira, he was the better player. Again, he put in a lot of work coming into it as well. And yeah, even in the follow-up, again, if you don't watch much StarCraft, then you wouldn't know. But right after his run in IEM Katowice, he also competed in World Team League, if you were watching. It was WTL, it was the winter season of 2022, right after the IEM Katowice Championship. And Oliveira carried hard, and he took down some big names there as well. He knocked everyone down. He was basically carrying his team the entire way there in WTL, and it was in the finals where Oliveira did falter, but he said himself that he was tired out. Like, he was playing such an intense weekend of StarCraft that weekend of WTL, and did end up falling in the finals. But he looked damn impressive there as well. So yeah, it showed that, again, like, it wasn't just like a one event sort of thing. Like, no, in that time period, like, he was the best. I think even Maru said so as well. So yeah, again, luck, I don't think really has much to do with it. Or maybe a little bit. in the sense that, like, I guess lucky that he had peaked in that moment, but that was on him. And saying he was lucky as well is just a disservice to the opponents that he beat and to all the other players there as well. It's like saying, oh, you know, it's lucky that they're bad. Like, what? So yeah, I'm not on board with that. As behind this, we're going for a double gas opener once again. Oliveira opening up double gas into his CC. As we do have a gate expand here from Stats. Here we go. Exclamation mark frozen. Exactly. Let's go. Not frozen. Exclamation mark frozen. As we're getting into it. But again, a big reason as to why Oliveira... This is also why I tried to emphasize the fact that Oliveira, his quote-unquote underperformance, I wouldn't even call it underperformance in 2023, but his lack of performance was because of... I mean, he couldn't compete. Like, he couldn't be there at DreamHack Yongshipping, he couldn't be there at Home Circuit Cup. So it's such a shame that the premier events just, like, preceding, like right after IEM Katowice that took place, he just wasn't able to take part in, and it felt so wrong at the time. Like, that's why there was a lot of talk about how, like, it was such a shame that he wasn't able to partake in those events right after that win, again because of visa issues. And on top of that, I did also mention that did demotivate him, like knowing and finding out that he couldn't play in these events. He did speak out saying that, like, he was playing less as a result. Like, he was like what am I playing for if I can't even travel to these tournaments? Like, what the hell's going on? So yeah, that was sad. But regardless, you know, thankfully he's here in Poland in IEM, opening up with a double cyclone drop. Opening up double cyclone, getting across the map, is going to be able to pick off both of those stalkers. Very nicely done. Two stalkers will be going down at the same time. Reaper does poke in towards the natural base. Talking about the openers here, once again the same build from Stats. Stats, he opened up gate expand into a triple gate opener here, or triple gate blink. So 3-gate blink does mean that Stats can apply pressure. He should be expanding behind this. He should be taking his third base. This is not an all-in by any means, just a safe way to open up to gain map control to eventually get into a more economic follow-up. Meanwhile, back at home, Oliveira going for his own 3-rack setup, getting into his 3-1-1, earlier tank production as well. Looking at his vision, Oliveira, he did confirm the tech, he confirmed the gateway count, so he knows that stalkers are coming. He's fully aware that stalkers are coming, which is why we're getting into tank production. He's getting in position. We have Marines and Cyclones in the main base. We have a bunker and a tank here at the natural. We are ready for the eventual counterattack. So a good read here by Oliveira. Doesn't deal as much damage as he would have liked. Looking at the units tab, he got 2 stalkers, which is good, but he wanted economic damage. As here we go, Prism comes in. Oh, these Cyclones moved out. Uh-oh. Cyclones did move out. SCVs are going to be going down. Oliveira, he was in position, but he's sending everything across the map. Damage is being done. SCVs are going to be going down. Oliveira, this push suddenly much more committed. Much more committed here as we are getting quite a bit done. We get 9, 10 SCV kills. Getting up to 11. Voids are being pulled. Reinforcements have to deal with this. And Oliveira, he's becoming more and more all in. Now this push had a lot of success in game 1. Liberator does try to meet up with the army, but it is barely going to go down. Good targeting there by Stats. Meanwhile, across the map, he still has the Stalkers active, killed 15 SCVs. And he's not stopping. Meanwhile, we do manage to get a couple of these gateways. 2 gates full. We have 3 gates in the main. Very similar build here, very similar playstyle here out of Stats. Not gonna lie. As he dives on forward, blinks on forward, takes down the tank, overcharges hop. This time we held on to it. This time we saved the overcharge for the fight. And can we barely get the last tank? It looks like, oh, we can. We barely do get it. Second tank goes down. And we've lost 23 SCVs across the map. Again, Oliveira completely all in, and he is not breaking through. He's killing some of the Stalkers, though. He is almost breaking through. Reinforcements have arrived. He has the tank. Oh. Does reinforce with the tank. He will depower the Robo. So there's still 3 gateways up and running here in the main. Soon to be 5. Stalker still across the map. And Stats, he's just buying time here, waiting for more reinforcements. Boys are being pulled. Stalkers, they blink on top of the tank once again. And Stats, oh god. We'll be bleeding out a lot of Stalkers. Good target firing here out of Oliveira. Very nice target firing, actually. Stim still finishing up in a couple of seconds. There we go. Stim is done. We start a step forward. We focus down another two of those Stalkers. Another third Stalker as well. But it's a numbers game when we're running out of Marines. We're running out of reinforcements. GG gets called as we run out of steam. And Stats ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we are going to the ace match. We're going to be going all the way into game number 3 here. Again, very similar play. Oh, the same build, actually. The same build from Stats 2 games in a row. This time, though, he was a lot more attentive when it came to when and where he did use the overcharge. He, of course, did a great job at harassing across the map. Oliveira, he had a choice to make. He had a choice. He could either turn back around, deal with the drop, deal with the Stalkers, or commit. And did decide to commit. He didn't really think that, of course, the drop would deal as much damage as it did. It did force the all-in. It killed, what was that, 40 SCVs? Maybe even more than that. Did an insane amount of damage, and just did force the all-in, did cripple Oliveira, and now we find ourselves in game 3. Let's go. Let us go. Here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner. In the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have our South Korean Protoss. South Korean Protoss player representing himself, tying up the series though, 1-1, forcing the ace match. Putting a point on the board. Can he go all the way? Can he go the distance? It is Stats. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Terran player, the reigning world champion representing CranKy Gaming, being forced into the ace match. It is Oliveira. See in the chat for Rajin, and I haven't seen him perform anywhere near that level before and after that. That's why I said that it's possible that you just don't watch enough events. That's also why I brought up WTL World Team League, which is where he did perform at that level. That's also why I did mention that you didn't see him perform afterwards, because again, he couldn't compete in DreamHack Young Shipping, and he couldn't compete in Home Story Cup either. That's why I brought up those 3 things to, again, show that, or to try to express and emphasize the fact that we didn't get a chance to see him after that, which is why it was a shame, which is why 2023 was quite smudge in that respect. Quite sad or quite, yeah, a rough year for Oliveira after that IEM. But here we go. We're getting into the ace match. We're getting into game number 3. And for the time being, once again, standard openers. I wouldn't be surprised if Stats goes for a 3-gate blink again, just because he's done it every game so far. Every game without fail, 3-gate blink from Stats. Will he go for it in game number 3? Meanwhile, across the map, we do have a Rax Expand here from Oliveira. Is going to be mixing it up, going for a much more economic opener, which I do appreciate on Site Delta. We speak about this all the time, but specifically on this map, there is a ramp coming into the natural. We do have a much more defensive position here, so these more economic openers are more standard and more commonplace on Site Delta. This Reaper does get across the map, does confirm the standard opener at least, is going to keep tabs on this Stalker. Behind this, we are not getting into a 3-Rax, which is viable here. Oh, the positioning, ooh, not quite, as Stats was not able to lock in that Reaper, does barely escape. There was an opportunity there. That's what's terrifying about this Reaper cliff, is that it is such a narrow entry point, and you can block it off here at the entrance, at the gas geyser. So it can be quite risky to go in with the Reaper. Not punished though. Oliveira does escape. And behind this is going for a Twilight Council. Stats his Twilight Council opener, not a Stargate. Once again, it's going to be Blink, and we'll keep an eye on how many gateways get thrown down. So far, we have one gateway done. Second gateway is on the way. We'll see if we throw down the third. Meanwhile, across the map, we do have a bit of a different opener. We're setting up with a bit of a 2-on-1. We do have Widowmines here for drop play. We've seen Widowmines be the bane of stats quite a number of times in Game 1 and even in the GSL qualifiers as well. So we'll see how Oliveira is able to make use of it. I'm curious if he's going to go for a Widowmine Marine drop. That is a build that is a variation that Maru and Bjorn have been mixing around. Have been playing with. And I wonder if Oliveira will embrace that as well. As it's only going to be the Widowmines. Does keep the Marines back at home. And Stats does mix it up. Here we go. It is going to be a 2-gate Blink opener into a third. We spoke about how Site Delta can be much more of an economic map just because of the defensive features, and we're seeing that come into play here for Stats as well. This time, for the first time, not going for a third gateway. Delays his production, delays his warp-ins in favor of a faster third Nexus. So much more economic. Much more economic out of Stats. Oliveira is ready to drop into that main. Meanwhile, behind this, getting towards Stim, into the +1. Nothing too crazy. Do have our soon to be, actually not quite add-on swap here. We're not getting into early tanks. Interesting choice out of Oliveira. This time going to be avoiding those tanks, going for a bio-heavy composition instead. I mean, it makes sense, considering that we did scout the third. So there's no need for tanks. Typically, they're required if you're up against 3-gate or 4-gate Blink Stalker, but in a longer game, you don't have to rely on them anywhere near as much. Stats with high ground vision. Does see the army, so we shouldn't commit to the Blink. There we go. He had the option. He had the option to dive into the main, but does respect the army of Oliveira. Does pull back. Pull back. Behind this, third base is getting fully saturated. We have our gateway explosion. Charge is finishing up. We are getting into 8-gate charge here on 3 bases. Quite committed from Stats. Like, Stats, he had the option. He had the option if he wanted to throw down a bay and to get into Colossus. Could have gone towards robo production, towards Colossus, into Disruptors. But no, Stats is going for a very gateway heavy composition. Going for a Swarm Toss style. Now, this style from Stats is ideal if your opponent is pushing into you. If Oliveira does push out, does move out, and as a result won't have any SimCity to work with, then Zelds can have their way with this bio army. Depending on how many Zelds there are. As Oliveira is pushing, Stats trying to keep up. Oliveira does end up distracting Stats here. Good reaction though. Mine shots should not go up. Up! That's way too soon. One mine shot does connect with the army. Oliveira rotating around. Looking for a way in. There's the bay that we spoke about. We should soon be working towards Colossus. Oliveira does see this, is aware. Did spot it with a mine drop. Speaking of, another mine drop coming in. Stats did see. Is getting ready with his Stalkers. And Oliveira now works towards his third. So he's not committed, he's not all in. Is being very active with his army, but let's see if he's able to find his opponent off guard, or catch his opponent off guard. Does get the sentry, gets Zealots as well. The Colossus aren't ready yet, by the way. Stats is in trouble. Stats, he doesn't have much to work with. He has Stalkers, Overcharge is popped. Mine shots go off here on the Zealots. And Oliveira, he can just another step forward, focus down the Stalkers one after the other. And there's nothing here. Again, the delayed Colossus production not paying off for Stats. Not enough Zealots either. And we have broken the main army. Yeah, Oliveira just going to town on this. Boys are being pulled. Oh, that's going to be 18, 20 probes going down. Ay, ay, ay. Not like this. As even though Oliveira is being cleaned up, it doesn't even matter. 20 workers have fallen. Does reinforce with a couple of units here. A couple of Marauders, a couple of Marines. Is being forced back. But the damage was done. There is no fourth base here for stats. So Oliveira getting ahead in the economy, taking his own third, getting it saturated. Stats now popping out with his Colossus, but again, it's too little too late. What he was lacking there especially were his Zealots. I don't know if we were missing Warpins there for stats, but again, to invest that hard into charge, to delay your Colossus production for that long, we do need a wave of Zealots here to defend, to deal with the Bio Army, and we just didn't have it. Mainly had Stalkers, and we saw how vulnerable they were. Expensive losses, 18 Stalkers going down. With that, Oliveira, he's fine to just back off for now. Regroup, resaturate his third. And consolidate his army. Now getting into Ghost production, into Vikings. Remember, he already scouted the Bay. He's already fully aware of the Colossus. And he's getting ready for it. He is getting ready for it. Meanwhile, Stats, he's still recovering his economy. Still no fourth base. Working towards Storm. Storm is a nice way to come back. Depending on the placement of the Storms, Stats, he can pop off. He can deal with an army. This is something that we saw, that we did notice during the GSO qualifiers, is that Stats, even though he would have a hard time keeping up with drop play, his army control, that was on par with the best. We saw Stats carry him quite a lot. It was the saving grace of Stats in yesterday's broadcast. EMP is going to be going up. Yeah, big EMPs here on the army. Do we have any High Templar? We do not. I mean, Storm is still not quite done. Oliveira will pull back. Scans, sees the Colossus. Respects it. Does he see the Researching Twilight Council? He did not. Didn't see the Twilight Council. Didn't see it researching. I mean, it still has Ghosts. So he has an answer to the High Templar. Oliveira is still just looking for a way in. Scans, he sees the fourth base, sees it is still halfway done. Meanwhile, we can see that Oliveira, he's just getting further and further ahead in the economy. After the damage that he dealt, he had already taken a lead, and he's extending that lead. He's up in SCVs, up in workers, up in mining, and as a result, up in army. Oh my god, massive EMPs on everything! Oh my god, we blanket the entire army here of Stats. He still has Storms! It's the only thing he has left. Big Storms here on the Vikings. But the Colossus go down. Oh my, we still had another Storm left over for the Bio Army as well. But Oliveira, he just takes the Storms to the face. It doesn't even matter. Stims on forward. Oh, final Storm here on the Marauders. Jesus. Stats had so many. He had so many Storms. EMPs connect. No more High Templar. We're running out of Storms. That's all we had. And Oliveira is now able to stim on board, break through the Stalkers. GG gets called, and Oliveira will take the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played, Oliveira. Coming out swinging here. A big shout to Stats for taking game number 2. You could make an argument that game number 2 was a little bit more on Oliveira. If you remember, he chose to ignore the Prism, he chose to ignore the Stalkers, and to commit across the map on Oceanborn, which led to his demise. That is true, but Oliveira was able to tighten things up here in game number 3 in the rest of this series and take down Stats. Against Stats, he did end up having a really rough showing at IEM, but it was really impressive nonetheless that he qualified for the event itself. And impressive that he was able to at least force Oliveira to the ace match here, as Oliveira has again, a lot to make up for from the year of 2023, and does come out here with a win. GG. GG, well played. I don't know if Stats, I could be mistaken, I don't know if Stats ever got to, play on the mainstream. I don't quite remember. It's a shame if he didn't. I know there are some players that didn't get to play on the mainstream, which is a bit of a shame. Like that's a bit of quite a feat to be able to play in front of a crowd and to be able to compete in front of so many different people. I don't think Cyan got to play on the mainstream. I know a lot of his matches were missed, but yeah, I hope Stats was able to. GG, well played. With that, we have our first series in the books, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. Gonna be Bunny versus Shin. Our second series of the night. One that I'm excited for. This is a little bit bittersweet. These are teammates, of course. For those who maybe weren't around back in Heart of the Swarm, Bunny and Shin are actually good friends. They're ex-teammates. They were on CJ Entis, and I know that being an ex-teammate may not mean much. Like, it's like, oh, you know, they were on the same team, cool, they competed for the same sponsor or whatever. But especially when it came to the Koreans, like, if you're a teammate, like, you lived together, you know, you were in a team house together, especially with these old Kespa teams like KT, SKT, CJ, Jin Air. And we've seen that even nowadays. If you follow Shin, for example, or Hero on Instagram, you'd see that relatively frequently, like, you know, every couple of months, like, they all go out, they all eat together. I'm talking about like Bunny, Shin, Hero, and others from back in the day, and it's really cool to see it. I bring this up because it was actually posted like 2 days ago. They actually went out to eat as well. So they're still good friends, they still hang out. Even now, like, Shin and Bunny technically representing the same team on Mystery Gaming. And now they have to face off against each other here at IEM many years later. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. I'm excited. Always for a good TVZ. Let's go. Shin, of course, aka Ragnarok, if you are unfamiliar with the name Shin, did name change at the start of last year. It's been like a year of Shin, basically, and yeah, he's been competing for a long time. Bunny took a bit of a break, came back. Bunny, he's less active. He doesn't really compete too often in online weekly tournaments, but we spoke about it when going over the GSL qualifiers, where there's something about Bunny, but like every GSL he pops off, every GSL, like, he has an insane run despite his inactivity. So it's always really impressive to see Bunny perform, and I'm excited to see him here at IEM. Big's fan. I got his signature. I mean, I got everyone's signature, to be fair. Yeah. Let's go. Game 1, Oceanborn. Oh, game destruction. Oh, my apologies. Thank you for letting me know. I will fix that. Sorry, that was a mistake on the casting tool. We'll update the title. Hold on. Say bam, there we go. Do apologize. But spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Mystery Gaming. It is Shin. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, also representing Mystery Gaming, as they are currently teammates, and they've been teammates for a long time. It is Bunny. Mi papi stats conscious somehow. It's like Protoss playing field. I have faith, papi, have faith. It's all good. Stats, of course, recently qualifying for GSL, so we'll be seeing more of Stats in the coming months. Likewise, Bunny and Shin also qualifying for this season of GSL. Here we go. I won't speak too much more on that, but there was some pretty big results in the qualifiers. I do recommend the VODs if you missed out. Really good games, really good series. As Bunny is opening up with a Rax Expand. Standard opener here from our Terran player. Likewise, Shin when Hatch Gas Pool. I point this out specifically for Shin because he has been quite fond of 15-15s. Very fond of them, so I would not be surprised if he goes for one, if he goes for that build at some point in this series. For now, standard opener. Getting into some standard play. As we settle on in. Again, when it comes to Bunny's playstyle here in TVZ, from what I recall, doesn't really spice things up too much. For example, Bunny and Ryung, for whatever reason, they never really embraced the Beyond opener. I'm talking about the 2x Reaper. So I don't recall Bunny ever going 2x Reaper and 2x Reaper variations, unlike Hyor, Maru, Byeon, Gumiho, like all the other top tier Koreans. Like they embraced it, they mixed it into their play. Clem, the European Terrans as well. But yeah, Bunny, he always kind of did his own thing. He always played his own style and was always a lot of fun to watch as a result. Even here, 1-1-1. We're going for a 1-1-1 opener. This could lead into a Hellbat push. I'm curious. We have a very delayed third TC, so this is a very committed, very aggressive build out of Bunny. Reaper gets across the map, gets out of the third base, dips in, doesn't quite get into the mineral line as Shin will defend. Back at home, ooh, we are going for a tech lab. BC? No BC, no fusion core, but we're just manually making that tech lab on that starport, getting into Banshee production. Banshee's gonna be on the way. Hellions are amassing. I'm still not unconvinced that I'm still not convinced that it's not going to be an armory thrown down. We'll see how many Marines we do get into. Another tech lab on the way. Hellions, they poke in across the map. Ooh, good body blocking out of Shin. That was very close. Smooth moves there out of Shin, but no, we do see the Hellions. They do catch the Queens out of position. We do commit. We do dive into the natural base. Lings are going to be going down. Ling speed still in the way, and it looks like this Hellion dive is not going to pay for itself. We get a couple of drones. We should clean this up. We're getting a little bit more. 5 workers. Not the worst trade, but yeah, we were looking for more. We get a 6th drone towards the end. As Bunny does get cleaned up. 7 drones in total. That's a little bit better. 7 workers for 4 Hellions. The problem here, there's a lot of problems. The problem is that, one, we have lost map control. We threw away all of our Hellions. That means we can spread creep. We can spread creep. We can fan out our Lings. There is nothing to really deter Shin from being a little bit greedier and from droning up. There are Banshees, but we have plenty of Queens in position to defend. On top of that, Bunny's third base is later than normal. So, again, those Hellions needs to do even more because of how late the CC is, because of how much map control we have relinquished. Meanwhile, across the map, the Banshees, they can still deal some damage. We get a couple of Lings. So far, no economic damage though. Getting 1 drone as Shin is opening up safely, going for a lair first into a Baneling nest. He's going for that lair opener, which makes sense against a delayed third CC. We don't want to go into double Evo chamber. We don't want to take that risk. Banshees, they head into the natural, taking a lot of damage. Oh. Do barely get a queen though. Suddenly a little bit more worth it here for Bunny. They'll snipe a queen, gets behind the mineral line. Shin, in the midst of taking his 4th. Bunny, he will back up. And the game is going to settle from here. The game is going to be settling. Bunny establishing his 3rd, Shin establishing his 4th. We're now getting into our upgrades. Again, the upgrades for Shin were delayed. I don't blame him for this, but these Evo chambers were a little bit later than we would otherwise see. But that is because Bunny did go for a more aggressive build, so Shin wanted to play safely, wanted to make sure he was safe and sound and secure, which is why we already have Banelings on the way. Meanwhile, Bunny is pushing out with a bit of a double drop, trying to deny the fourth if at all possible. Shin in position. We have Queens, we have Banelings. We're ready. So we do push forward. We catch a couple of tumors. Catch a couple of tumors. Not much else. Again, Shin, he does defend his fourth, does deflect the army. And Bunny behind this is not working up towards a 3-base all-in. We do have a 4th CC on the way. So we're in for a longer one. We're in for a longer game. Let's go. Let's go. And she's a deny the 5th. Good movement here out of Bunny. Does slip in. Shin, he's going Lingbane into Hydra. Lingbane Hydra joining on up. He's gotten up to 80 workers already. He has a solid economy. Shin, he is in control of this game. Winding it back a little bit more here. And again, the openers are quite important as we catch out the drop. To catch the Marines. But because of the openers, Shin played safely and now he's gotten away with it. Bunny needed more damage and he's falling behind as a result. Did need to deal more damage here as he is now one step behind. As Shin, he's reached critical mass of drones. It can now focus on Lingbane Hydra, taking up in towards a hive. And Shin is soon going to max out. This thing run might not finding too much damage though. Does run into a wall. Reduce supply block Shin. Bunny doing anything he can here to slow down the Zerg. Hot pick up there out of Bunny, saves the Marines. Only loses one. Go push towards the left. A couple of Widow Mines. The Bio Army as well. And again, Shin is in position, is able to deflect Bunny time and time again. Still not quite maxed out. Bunny is keeping up in supply, is what I will say. Impressive. Getting his 4th base. Once again, avoiding those Baneling connections. And there is going to be a window. There is going to be a window here where Bunny has to... Actually, I think that's going to be lined up with when Bunny maxes out as well. So we can start to push. And there we go. We do see the tanks repositioning. Widowmines pushing forward. Bunny moving out towards the bottom left. Shin working towards lurkers, but he won't have them in the defense. Won't have them yet. We'll see if Bunny can break into that base. At the same time, Shin setting up his own counterattack. Is distracted by the triple drop. Bunny catching out all the Banelings. Does get a good chunk of them. We'll drop into the 3rd base. Went to natural. But Shin, he is in position. So far, Shin able to keep up. Bunny pushing out. There's a little Lingbane waiting for him. Again, Shin, he's ready for the surround. Ready to collapse on this. Just waiting to lure Bunny in onto creep. Likewise, Shin trying to expand on the right-hand side. Very limited anti-air. The hive is done. Do we have any Vipers? The answer is no. And Shin pushes off of creep. Does catch the tanks. Does shut down the Widow Mines. And it looks like Shin, he may just have too much. He does surround the army. Does clean this up. A couple of Marines will escape. Oof. But the medevacs go down. Oh no. The medevacs. Oh. Boost is still on cooldown, just comes off. And the Metarex will barely survive. Oh my god, Bunny coming back in. At the same time, reinforcing our right hand side. Even though Bunny just lost an army, he's already remaxed, which is crazy, by the way. Catches out some drones. But Shin, he is counterattacking. Does hit the planetary. Will bring it down at the same time. Bunny doesn't quite commit. Yeah, there's just too much Ling Bane to defend. Bunny, he's coming back home. Big mine shot. Shin did well killing the base, but he did overextend quite a bit there. Has to back off. Mine shot's going to be connecting. Now, Bunny may have lost his fourth, but he still has another four soon to be up and running. Morphing into a planetary. As Shin is on 5 bases, trying to get his 6th up as well. Bunny was able to catch some workers earlier. Once again, going for another split push. And throughout all of this, Bunny has been taking up. We have Liberators on the way, Ghosts on the way. We are getting ready for Lurkers. Speaking of, Lurkers are in production. So we have taked up towards the late game here. Hydra Lurker Viper for Shin. Bunny, he's already got that Lib Ghost getting ready for this. Isn't quite in position yet. Good mine shots. Bunny does come across the Ling Bane on the right. And Shin is going to be committing. Does lose a Lurker already. It does go down. I don't think this is the fight to take. We yoink the Ghosts. Oh. 2 Ghosts do go down. We have no detection and we do forces back. At the same time, the Ling Bane does crash into the mineral line. 14 SCVs go down. The planetary does survive. And a bit of a shaky fight there for Shin, but he does manage to get some economic damage done. He killed 2 Ghosts for 2 Lurkers, trading 1 for 1 essentially. 1 for 1 Lurker for 4 Ghost. The Vipers did survive. Yeah, the Vipers did survive. We have 2 of them. 3rd Viper on the way. Nidus Worm in production as well. The Lurkers, they're going for the Nidus. And do we have any vision across the map? We do. Overseer making its way towards the National, towards the main for that Nidus. And if Shin can get into the main base, if he can get on top of the production, he can end the game. Speaking of, there it is. Nidus into the main base. Bunny, does he see? Does he respond? He does. Couple of Ghosts, yeah, all the Ghosts, even that's a lot of Ghosts. They do respond, but really that was a distraction, and Shinny goes to the planetary once again. Does distract Bunny, takes down the planetary, does back off, gets 16 SCV kills, and that's all that Shin needed. Again, didn't get the production like he wanted, but he gets the next best thing. Kills the base, kills the mineral line, pulling apart the attention of Bunny. And this will also force Bunny to keep some supply here in the main, but he killed the Overseer. Oh, sorry, he zoned it away. Oh, that's another Overseer making his way into the main base. Nidus is thrown down. There are some Ghosts in position. This time only a handful of Ghosts. As the Nidus will barely finish, but we do not commit with it. Don't send anything out. The other thing about Bunny's army that I'm concerned about is the amount of Widow Mines he has. So typically, traditionally, when you're up against Ling Bane, Hydra Lurker Viper, when you're up against this army from Shin, the Terran player would be switching from Widow Mines into tanks. It'd be Tank Ghost Lid. Widow Mines are good, they're good against Lings, not against Lurkers and Hydras, which is what I'm concerned about. This is a more flexible army, a more mobile army. It's a little bit cheaper, more affordable, that is true, but not as efficient. Again, mine shots can be lackluster as we dive on top of the army. The Liberators out of position. Libs know where they need to be. The Ghosts, they stand strong. Ling Bane is being cleaned up. Ooh. So yoink in as many lives as we can. Good snipes here from Bunny. But again, we had what? I think it was like 5 or 6 Liberators here sieged up towards the left, and we just ignored them. Just ran past. Didn't even matter. And again, Widowmines, they don't cover as wide of a radius either compared to tanks. So defensively, they're just worse. As the Nidus finishes in the natural lurker, they get in. Up. Not worth it here for Shin. Does bleed out 4 lurkers. Did get 5 ghosts. And Bunny, he's retaking his base. Getting his 4th and 5th. Can he get a 6th up and running? That's going to be huge. Shin cannot allow this to get up and running. Cannot allow this to happen. So far, has been doing a decent job at denying the economy. Every time Shin pushes, he kills a base. He has been killing bases. Man, this we have a Spire, 2nd Spire on the way for upgrades for a Greater Spire. This will be eventually for Broodlords. So we can head into Broodlord production. Meanwhile, we lost all of our Lurkers and Shin is not replacing them. Sticking with Ling Bane Hydra. Does cancel a base. Gets into Mineralite. SCVs are being evacuated. Good EMPs on those Vipers. That was actually a pretty good defense. Nice hold there from Bunny. Oh no, but the CC! I can't say the same for the Orbital as it looks like it will be going down. Oh, just barely. It's on fire! And it looks like there are no repairs to the CC. Yeah, it is gonna burn. We're down to 5, 4, 3. It does burn. Now, Bunny does have bottom left though, and I don't think Shin has seen it. No, sorry, he has.
Mineral field.
Here's a planetary. Bunny rotating over. Scan reveals the army. Bunny is on the way. He's getting here. Big fungal here on the Ghost. Baileys will connect. Ghost going down, and the Lings, they go to town here on the planetary. They bring it down. The Cracklings, they cracked. They take down the planetary. They take down the SCVs. At the same time, a Liberator going hammer across the map, getting 11 drone kills. Shin also taking some losses, but he killed a base. That is what matters. Shin is building up a bank, and Bunny is not. He is struggling. Struggling to work on that bank. Still committing here to Ghost Lib Widowmine. To Widowmine play. And again, I'm not fully convinced by this, just because in this position, Bunny has been stuck turtling, right? He's been stuck defending, stuck turtling, and if we're going to be taking a more defensive stance, that's where mech comes into play. That's where the power of Lib Tank comes in. It's why the ideal late game for Terran is mech Ghost, basically. That's what Bunny should be working towards, but he isn't. Again, part of it just maybe just his playstyle. He enjoys something more mobile and maneuverable, which is okay if we're in position, but again, we have been bleeding out a lot of bases. Bunny building up his bank. Okay, he does roll in. Oh, that's a lot of ghosts that are set up. And the freedom liberation zones this time are too much. This time we force back the army. We got a couple of SCVs. But that was one of the more efficient fights that Bunny has had. This time the Libs are in position. They got a lot of value. The Ghosts survived. How many Ghosts do we have? 24! We have more Ghosts than any other unit in the game for Terran, other than SCV. More Ghosts than Marine, Widowmine, or Lib. Let's go. Let's get a couple of parasitic bombs up. Bunny taking another base. A fresh mining base. Shin trying to expand and taking one of Bunny's bases. Let's take a couple of hits. Here we go. We have our transition. Remember those spires. The spires are done. Upgrades are on the way. We have 10 corruptors in production. Eventually for Broodlords. So we have a nuke on the right hand side, but we do get eyes on the ghost. Barely getting the kill. Plenty of infestors as well. Plenty of spellcasters. Vipers are coming. Nice EMP on the Vipers. Ooh. Mind Shield going off as well. 2 Vipers go down. Big losses for Shin. Shin tries to push forward. Gets a couple of the ghosts. Gets a couple of ghosts, but the ghost army from Bunny, we're gaining ground. Yeah, nuke gets thrown down. Shin. Oh, he's going for it. It's always so risky. Like, you see a nuke, you run. No, you see a nuke, you hunt the ghost down. Does get it. Shin, the Broodlords, they have arrived. Broodlord Infestor is now what Shin is working with. Terrifying army. Fungal Graze is one of those ghosts. Broodlord shutting a Bunny down. Liberations and have arrived. Good EMP here on some of the Infestors. We're making 4 Vikings at a time, but is it too late? Again, this is a late response here to the Broodlords. Come in. Oh, we get a ghost. Do pick up a ghost.
Your forces are under attack.
Well, across the map, looks like a couple of drones were thrown away. Oh, a couple of workers going down here towards the left-hand side. Bunny denying mining. Very important that he does eventually try to take the space. Vipers are coming in. They do land some parasitic bombs. Fungal as well on some of these ghosts, but there is no follow-up. The ghosts live. The ghosts do survive. Bunny splitting off those weekend liberators. Going to be repairing. I love the attempted moves there from Bunny. Very nicely done. Do love to see it. More Broodlords on the way. Drone counts are getting low for both players. Nuke gets thrown down. Oh. The ghost! Do we get the ghost? Oh, we don't! We do not snipe the ghost. The nuke is going to go off and it will connect with the stack defense. And that is why it's so risky. The ghost was still alive. Was not brought down. That was so close. Like, Shin, calm down. Calm down, Buck. Bunny forcing his way in. The freedom is here. So many liberation zones. So difficult for the infestors to engage. Liberators repositioning. Zoning Shin back. Yeah, and we're just cutting Shin off from this hatchery. From the mining base. We do have a Nidus. We can evacuate. Get out of here. Dive into the Nidus. Ah. So we are pushing in. Oh, at the same time, Shinny goes for a big counterattack. But GG is called, and Shin, he was running out of steam there. Does tap out. Bunny takes it. Takes game number 1. Oh, GG. GG. Ah. Hold on. I'm checking something. I am checking something. Because I'm pretty sure we were rotating over. Sorry, I just want to make sure that I didn't miss. I am. Okay. I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss like the spellcasters being sniped or something. No, the spellcasters were still there. But yeah, basically Shin, he was forced away from his base. He could not save it. His Ling run by was being cleaned up. GG. Bunny taking game number 1. I was concerned that it was going to be a repeat of Bunny versus Dark, where Dark just out-trades the hell out of Bunny on Alcyone with his Broodlord Infestor. But again, Bunny, he was getting so much more ground. It's forcing Shin further and further back. GG. GG, well played. This is so clutch. They were. Can't argue with liberty, freedom, and justice. You cannot. You cannot. The freedom. GG. With that, we're getting into game number 2. Again, that was a great game 1. We don't often see late game like that on Oceanborn. I mean, it was quite chaotic, don't get me wrong. It's not as defendable as Alcyone. But really impressive there by Bunny. Really impressive. I was concerned that he wasn't going to be able to trade efficiently enough, but he got into so many ghosts and so many liberators. Like, that was almost his entire army. And Vikings as well. Did do very well for himself. And here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Solaris. We have our South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Mystery Gaming. It is Bunny. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player. The blue Zerg representing Mystery Gaming. It is Shin. And before I get ahead of myself, a big shout out to Foxer in the chat. Oh my god, Papi, thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Assuming you were streaming StarCraft or Stormgates, either or, hope you had a great time. Thank you so much, thank you. I apologize for not shouting you out earlier during the game. I didn't want to take away from the game, but thank you so much. Gracias, Papi, gracias. Este Foxer. We go. As a Shin looking to fight back. Luna's had this series going for a Hatchcat Spool. Standard opener from Shin. Meanwhile, Bunny going for an interesting build himself, going for a Rax Expand with a CC in the main. Okay. Very interesting. I mean, there are speed zones here on the map, but Bunny may be a little bit paranoid about a pool first. Very interesting. This is where I have to imagine mind games come into play, where I'm sure both Shin and Bunny practice together. I'm sure they play against each other a lot. And maybe it's a common tactic for Shin to, again, go for an earlier pull and disrupt the opener of Bunny. But yeah, CC on the high ground, something you don't see too often. Let's go. Can't argue with Turtle. You can't win an argument. Turtles. Their debates are too good. Their tactics. Good morning, Dazzy Bots. Good morning. Bienvenidos. Bienvenidos says, wait, oh my god, Shin, comes in, he misreads. Shin, he set up a Spine Crawler, does cancel though. As Shin, he saw the lack of CC and he assumed it was going to be a one base all in. So I guess that's also a plus side. Bunny with a more unorthodox build did force an overreaction, but Shin thankfully realizes what's going on. He cancels the Spine Crawler. Is moving out with his Lings. And does... Oh, once again, we're trying to hide the CC, but it's been spotted. Bunny, so cheeky. Okay. Well, now we know. Now we know what the point was. Again, let's try to bamboozle Shin. Did work a little bit, but not as much as I'm sure he would have liked. Shin does confirm. Behind this, it is going to be another 1-1-1. So just like the previous game, Bunny is opening up quite aggressively. Is going for a delayed CC. Shin behind this going into his third, a little bit later than he would have liked because he was terrified of what was happening. So late third for Shin. As we settle into this. Bunny Bunny scouting, checking for the third. He will get eyes on it. I'm sure feeling good about this. Third base isn't even done. And Bunny, once again, working towards those Banshees. Now, I will say that this opener in Game 1 was a little bit lackluster. Bunny, he killed, what was it? 6 or 7 drones for his 4 Hellions, which was okay. The Banshees were able to kill 1 Queen and like 1 or 2 more drones as well. But the Banshees weren't amazing in their role. And this time we're getting into our 3rd CC a little bit earlier. Stim is in production. Once again, Shin going for a lair first. Is going to be a lair into Balin as a very safe opener out of Shin. Bunny with the slick moves takes down the tumor. Does snipe the tumor. Banshee rocks up. No Spore Crawler, by the way. Is a couple seconds late. We get 2 drones. We head into the natural where there is a Spore lying in wait. Shin in position. Force back the Banshee. We barely get a 3rd drone. So not bad. Not bad here from Bunny. Getting 3 workers. Does escape with the Banshee. Does keep his Hellions alive this time. And is getting into his 5 rack setup. We're even getting a Queen. Good movement here from Bunny. And getting drones, getting a Queen. Banshees are still barely alive. Oh, as we dive further into the bases. Yeah, the intercept is real, and 1 Banshee will go down. And the dust from here will settle, and we can kind of take stock at where we are. So Shin is on a 3-base economy. He's up to 66 drones. He's working on a 4th base, working on 1-1, failing speed as well. Again, was a pretty standard opener here from Shin. Has sustained some damage, losing 5 drones in total, but that isn't game ending by any means. Is still damage that Shin can sustain. Meanwhile, back at home, Bunny is establishing his 3rd base as he moves out. Shin is moving in. Ooh, unfortunate for Bunny. Yeah, things they get into midline. SCVs are going down. Bunny was right here. He was just here and does lose quite a bit of his economy. Does shave off a lot of Lings. Does punish the run by a little bit. That was a good counterattack here from Shin, and he's coming back in. He does double back. Catches reinforcements. Forces friendly fire, and the wall is not a wall. Lack of SimCity there from a Bunny. Does get even more SCVs. And Bunny's not turning around. He is pushing out. Getting 7 SCVs across the map. Bunny pushing in towards the natural. Bailing speed is done. Oh, do we catch the Hellions? We do catch the Hellions. Good pick up there from Shin. Gets a Hellions, forces the pickup, gets a couple of Marines, crippled the economy across the map, and Shin, any damage he took early on, he has recovered from, and then some. Now Bunny is stuck at home again. He wanted to push out with his tank, he wanted to hit the timing, and alas, he won't be able to. Now Shin is caught up with the 1-1 upgrades. Bunny, do we have the armory? We do. 2-2 is a little bit delayed here because of the disrupted economy. And hopefully we don't delay too much longer. Hopefully. It is +2 attack on the way. Bunny going for a double drop. Double drop towards the north, towards the south. And there's a lot of onus, there's a lot of pressure on Bunny right now because Bunny, he's down 30 SCVs. Shin, he has an insane economy. 83 workers, 5 bases. Infestation bits on the way, 2-2. Getting ready for hype tech. Shin looking very comfortable. Line shot takes down some Lings. Bailey run by is being set up by Shin as well. Oh my god. I was worried about that mine. As again, from here, Bunny actually turns back around with his drop play. Again, respecting Shin quite a bit. Shin, he's about to max out. He's at 186 supply. And I'm sure he wants Bunny to push into him. Rocks are being knocked down. Bunny is setting up for his push, by the way. He is moving out. Rocks are knocked down. Looks like Bailey's it back up. And Shin is max. Bunny's as well. I mean, he's just behind him. Is right behind him, but Shin coming from behind. Oh, the Bailey's, they do roll on 4. They threaten the Bio Army. And they even get into the middle line. 3 SCVs! They take down 3 Bailey's. They take down 11 SCVs. Lings, they flood into the natural. Into the mineral line. Catching reinforcements as well. And Bunny is being pulled apart. Shin gonna be retreating with those Bailey's at least. But damage was done. And Bunny, we gotta go. Now, as Bunny's been losing workers, he's super maxed. He's down to 42 SCVs. He has less than half the worker count of Shin. But Bunny, he makes up for that in army supply. As he's up to 140 army supply. So, Bunny is pretty all in, essentially. Bunny, he's all in. What you see is what you get. His army is massive, but that's his only army. And I would say that Bunny's on a timer. He needs to push, he needs to go now. The longer he waits, the more opportunities Shin has to just pick away at his army. Pick up Marines, pick up tanks, and remax. Take down a hatchery. Again, this army is pretty insane. They do catch out some Marines. Hive is done. Ultra Cavern on the way for Shin. He's expanding towards the north. Taking more bases. Bunny gaining more ground. Still supply blocked, by the way. Still is supply blocked. Oh, has another Ling run by. Does catch reinforcements. Boys! They're being evacuated, and Bunny, he turns back around. This will expose his tanks. Turns back around with his Marines. And Shin, he can dive on this. He has Vipers. Speaking of, he had Vipers. Gets one Blinding Cloud. Ay, ay, ay. Good pick up by Bunny. A rough loss for Shin. Has to rebuild his Vipers. If it wasn't for that snipe, I'll be honest, I think we can Blinding Cloud all the tanks and Shin would have collapsed on this. 100%. As he just goes for non-stop run-bys. Bunny is here, he's backing over, but he's getting surrounded, and his army is so heavily overstimmed. Bunny getting cleaned up. It looks like he will catch that base on the bottom right. The hatchery is going to be going down. Shin trying to preserve those drones. Likewise, linear third base is going to go down as well. Bunny killing 2 hatcheries. Pretty good. Good pickoffs here from Bunny. But Shin, he's been buying time the entire time. He has 5 ultras on the way. The ultras have arrived. And again, Bunny has still been all in this entire time. 35 SCVs. He hasn't made a worker in minutes. Hasn't made a single SCV in a very long time. This is still all he has. He's up to 160 army supply. His army just gets bigger and bigger. Oh my god. As long as we can avoid the blinding clouds, I think we're okay. I think Bunny can pull this off. Here come the Vipers. And here come the blinding clouds. Yeah, we cover the tanks. We collapse on this position. Tanks are going down. We have 2 more behind this. But more blinding clouds. And Shin, it looks like he will break through. He cleans up the army. Shuts down the tanks. The Ultras, they lead the charge. And GG gets called. Shin will take game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. GG. We are going to the ace match. Again, Bunny just pulled apart left and right. The non-stop bailing and Ling run-bys did cripple his economy. And at a certain point, Bunny knew that he was too far behind. He was like, screw it. We're going all in. It's all or nothing at this point. And he just refused to make a single worker from that moment forward. Just nothing but army. And was finding some success, that is true, but as we saw, it just took a little bit too long to get across the map. By the time he did, by the time he was pushing in, we saw Shin barely squeezing out those ultras. And with them, he was able to completely shut down the ground army. It felt like we needed a little bit more urgency out of Bunny to just commit to the all-in and just send it across the map and take a few more chances. It's risky, yes, but I mean, we were already all in. Regardless, here we go. We're in the ace match, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alkyone, we have our South Korean Zerg player representing Mystery Gaming. It is Shin. Tying up the series 1-1, forcing the ace match, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Terran player representing Mystery Gaming as well as they are teammates. It is Bunny. Here we go. Go. Shin is going to be going for a hatch first. Bunny, last game, if you remember, did go for something more unorthodox, went for a Rax expand with a CC on the high ground, and did fake out a 1 base all-in, essentially. Did fake it out, but this time should be going for something more standard. We're loading into Alkyone, a much larger map in the map pool, a lot of base to be taken, and a lot more of a macro-centric map. So we could be in for another long one. Could be in for another split map scenario. I'm all for it. I'm here for it, man. So that's CC on the low ground. Worker Scout moving out across the map. Is moving out just to confirm the opener, and Shin has not gone for a 15-15 this entire series. Just straight up Hashcast pool standard openers. I appreciate it. Do appreciate it. To get into this, and yeah, outside of this, we do have our follow-up. Now, every game this series, Bunny has been going for 1-1-1s, which has been interesting. It's, again, very stylistic of Bunny and not really seen too often by any of the other Korean Terrans to delay your third for as long as Bunny has. And we've been seeing some mixed results. We saw in Game 1 his Hellions were able to deal some more damage. In Game 2, his Banshees were okay, but here we go. For the first time this series, that is a third CC before Starport. Let's go. Going for a very economic opener here from Bunny. For the first time. And again, a big reason for this is the map. We've seen a lot of late game here on Alkyone, and we're getting ready for it. There's also, of course, the goal base that could come into play, but really the goal is simply taken as a 5th. It's 5th hatchery, sometimes a 4th, but we're usually not that spicy. Usually. This bunny is going to be forced back. Did get eyes on the third base timing, but not much else than that. And we are just settling into this. Interesting. No add-on swap. We do have a tech lab on the way, but it's going to be a Viking first here from Bunny. Viking first is going to be denying these overlords. And from here, we will most likely go into a Liberator. We're not really often seeing Banshee production from this point. Could even technically be BC, but... Oh, we are going for an add-on swap. Okay. I like this. Viking into add-on swap into Banshee. So the reason why this is gonna be a little bit off-putting, or it should ideally catch Shin off guard. Typically, if you're going for a Banshee opener, you would go for an add-on swap initially, and you would not waste time on a Viking. Just to be efficient, right? Just to get your Banshee out as quickly as possible, to get economic damage as quickly as possible. The fact that we're opening up Viking does kind of lead us down a different route, into Liberators, or just straight into bio play, into a stim timing. So Shin shouldn't be getting his spores. And as we see, no spores here in the mineral lines. We can see the spores on the edge. This is for Liberators. These are in position to defend against Liberators. So more of an opportunity for these Banshees to get damage done. Also, we're not investing into Cloak. So vanilla Banshees here from Bunny. And Shin happens to be going Roaches, which again is ideal. Which is ideal for Bunny, as Banshees are ideal against Roaches. So we are going for a 9 Roach push. We're going to be droning up behind this. This is going to be some light aggression from Shin. Not committed, but the Lings, they do get in. Oh, Bunny out of position. A lot lost mine time. SCVs are going down. Ay, ay, ay. And the Banshee does reveal itself defensively. Not like this. Banshee has been revealed. We got 4 SCV kills. We can finally go back to mining in the natural. Roaches are still moving out. A bit of a misrally. Oh, a couple of drones. They wanted to be Roaches. Not like this. So to have a bit of a misrally. But Roaches are coming in. I believe the Banshee is still back at home. Oh, no. Banshee is moving out across the map. Roaches have arrived. Ooh, without the Banshee, this is going to be a tougher defense here for Bunny. Yeah, we can see the Viking and the Banshee racing back home. Roaches are going to be going down. They do pick up some of the Hellions. But we get a full surround. And we do clean this up. Not a bad response here from Bunny. Again, he hasn't lost too much. He just lost mining time. Quite a lot of it. But he deals with the Roaches. That was a big investment for Shin and didn't really pay off. Behind this, he's transitioning into Ling Bane. It's going to be delayed 1-1, delayed Banelings as well. We delayed all of this tech in favor of the Roach Horn, and it wasn't worth it for Shin. So Bunny, not in a bad position. In a pretty good position, I would say. As the Roaches did fall in their face. Oh, we're rushing into a Hydra Den. And she's slipping into the main. Unable to find too much damage though. Wings likewise going for another counter attack. We don't quite get the tank. This time Bunny is in position. Does zone away the Lings. Now it's going to be on Bunny to maintain himself here as he's working towards a 4cc, getting into Bio Mine, very similar to what we saw in Oceanborn. And I'll be honest, I imagine a very similar game here to Oceanborn, where Bunny's going to try to go for mass drop play, eventually transition into Ghost production, into Widow Mines, into Liberators. Does come across a hatchery, does force a cancel. Does deny the 5th. At the same time, Viking catches an Overlord in the center of the map. We do have a double drop on the right-hand side. Double drop threading that natural, keeping Shin busy. And do we have anything to defend here? This 4th base. We do have Queens. As we ignore the 4th, we go into the main base. Bunny bleeding out some Marines. Hydras are in position. And Bunny doesn't find any damage. Does get cornered, does get stuck. In between Hydras and Queens. But thankfully, Bunny hasn't lost too much yet. Drops are stuck, that is true, but he can always try to break them free later. As we actually reinforce towards the left. No creep whatsoever here. Bunny can take a fight. Shinny does notice. There we go, Bunny dives on the hatchery. Will force a cancel once again. Denying the 5th for a second time. Shin trying to bait out that mine. Will do so. Forced to pick up. So we head into the natural, just back and forth here. Bunny being so annoying. Does get a queen. Oh my god. Big baiting to the face. Wouldn't mind denying that hatchery. Taking a 4th behind this. Bunny taking an economic lead. Again, Shin, he is maxed out. That is true. He's going Ling Bane Hydra. We do have the Hive on the way. Lurker Den as well. Eventually Viper play and Lurker play. But Shin is still busy. Forsake the goal base, but Bunny gonna deny this hatchery as well. He's gonna try. Up. He takes big failings to the face. That was not worth it. Bunny trying to focus on that hatchery. Does not deny it. Bunny throws away supply. Scan sees the Hydras, still stuck with his double drop. As Bunny's gonna be taking his own gold, and even though Shin has had a really hard time taking a 5th, now he has his 5th base and it is a gold. So Shin, he's catching back up, making up for his delayed economy, and both players are maxed out, which is what we expected to be getting into here on Alkione. We're maxed out, we have a split map, creep at the halfway mark, and Ghost production has commenced. We're getting into Ghost Lib from Bunny, we're getting into Hydra Lurker Viper for Shin, as we have 5 Lurkers on the way. No Nidus Swarm yet, and no Vipers yet either, as the Hive is still a couple seconds away up from finishing. So Shin is still not at his final form. We're still working on it. And these Lurkers aren't as potent as they otherwise usually are, as they don't have any upgrades. No range or adaptive talons. Drop does come in, not gonna find too much success. We do trade okay against the Bailings, but we get cleaned up. Scan does reveal a base. And Bunny on the way to deal with it. So the name of the game here is Bunny's going for drop play. That is true. We do have some Ling Bane to defend that northern base, but he can't really commit to a push until he refines his army. Basically, what we're waiting for is an abundance of Ghosts and Liberators. Without them, Bunny can't really move out. Not with his whole army. And there it is. Second Starport is on the way. We have the Fusion Core for Liberator range, making 3 Ghosts at a time. Bunny is getting towards that ideal army composition that we saw in Game 1. Ooh, big mine shots. Meanwhile, Shin this time is just going for a much faster transition. That's a very quick Spire compared to what we saw previously. Nidus on the way. Ghost gonna be able to shut it down. Shin is denied. Nidus does finish one. Lurker does come out. But gets sniped instantly. Good cleanup by Bunny. It's a good cleanup. Scan into the main. Reveals the hive. Reveals the Greater Spire. Now we don't want to go into Vikings too soon. Because we have the tech, that doesn't mean we're making Corruptors now. Especially considering the lack of upgrades. But Bunny at least knows. There we go. Turrets being thrown down. We're fully walling off, we're turtling up. We're just completely turtling up here. In our corner of the map. Lurkers come in, Lings. They threaten to dive. Good mine shot there on the Lings. At the same time, Bunny trying to force his way up the ramp. There are no Lurkers. Bunny, he will kill this gold. Likewise, he will lose control here of this northern base. Decent fungal on the Marauders. But it's Marauders. Yeah, we can tank the Banelings. Marines going down. Hatchery getting very low. We do get a decent fungal off on some Ghosts. Yeah, well, there's no saving the Hatchery. It does go down. Likewise, Bunny also lost his CC to the Lurkers. So trading a base for a base. Now, once again, yes, Shin does have a bank, but he needs a bank because Bunny's army is more efficient. Bunny, he will be just trading better than his opponent. And Shin just has to be careful to make sure he maintains his economic lead. If it slips away, then Bunny will run away with it. Will run away with the game. Broodlords on the way. I'm not sure if I'm convinced about this. Broodlords are good, but these are 0-0 Broodlords. They're very early. Nice, it's turned down. Broodlords pushing in. Decent yoinks here on those libs. The Corruptors, they go ham. The Ghost will survive, and looks like the nuke is going to be zoning this back. We do get some snipes. We had 4 Broodlords, we're down to 3. Got 4. There's off, not quite connecting. Looks like we sniped. There it is. 3 Broodlords were sniped. We got 6. Got a Lurker. To pick up a Lurker as Shin pushing forward with more of his Broodlords. Snipes to reclaim a big Baneling connections. Oh my god, the Ghosts! The Ghosts get caught out. Big overextension there by Bunny. As he loses 12 Ghosts. And with that, we do see Shin. He is holding. Forcing back the ground army. But liberation zones, they're not stopping. They're still trading well. You're going to be connecting here with the spores. I also can't believe this hatchery is still alive. It survived all of this somehow. It's crazy. Shin taking top left. Does coming from behind. Does go for a flank. Gets a lib. Gets 2. 2 liberators. Does pull back. Third liberator does go down. You can see Shin just picking this army apart. And still taking another base. Still has the gold. which I'm a bit shocked by. Here we go. Behind this, we were getting back into Viking production. We have a couple of Thors as well, which will help. Focusing on our anti-air. Bonnie backing off here. A Bailey run by does draw away his attention. As it looks like Bunny, he is coming back. I was about to say, like, from here, do we back off? Do we rotate and try to deny these northern bases instead? Is that our plan? Yeah, the answer is no. We're still pushing in on the right. Bunny has rebuilt his ghosts. God, how many Vikings does he have? 10. Vikings here for Bunny. As many Vikings as there are Corruptors. Broodlords are slowly poking and picking up whatever they can. They get a couple of Marauders. Liberation Zone's going ham. This fight could still go either way. I can see a world where Bunny EMPs all these infestors and then he can break through. Then he can break through. New connects with spores. They are reburrowing. Moving back in. Managed to take down a Brood. Oh, another Broodlord forced Thor. Shin has to be very careful with his movement. Speaking of big fungal here on the Ghost, the chain fungal. He's going for it. Gets a third fungal as well. A fourth fungal. And the Ghost, they barely escape. Oh my god. And we're going for the dive. Bailey's are rolling on in. The Ghosts are still very battered, very bruised. Decent Bailey connections there. Bunny being forced back. The Liberator's being cleaned up as well. And Shin, he has done it. He's broken this position. Again, catching out those Ghosts. That was the moment he was looking for. And he is shutting everything else down in the sky. One Liberator remains. Broodlord's pushing in. And we're down to our final mining base. Cheeky nuke. It's not gonna finish. But it does have center right. But again, with the death of this base, Shin should be able to get it. Assuming Shin can break this planetary. Oh! As Bailey's they roll in, they take down that center right base. Good snipes. Snipes on the Broods. CC barely does survive. Again, the economy of Bunny is still struggling. Shin, he's going for it. Oh, the fungal! He's going for the fungal and he will land! Once again, the chain fungals here on all the Ghosts. Ah! They cannot escape. They all go down. A massive pickoff once again. Twice in the same game. Just catching the Ghosts off guard. Catching them clumped up. And Shin is running away with it. This entire time he's been mining from top left as well. We do have a Liberator harassing, at least. Need a couple of drone kills. But again, for the most part, Shin, he is in control. He's in the driver's seat. Maxing out once again. How many infestors? Four infestors, 6 Broodlords, more Corruptors on the way. Range drop is coming from Bunny, but this is, I feel like, too little too late. We needed this earlier. Shin is responding. And very similar to the last game, we have entered a kind of a phase here where Bunny is pretty all in. I say that just because of his economy. Like, he's down to one base. Down to one base economy here. He cannot sustain himself. Any more losses and he will be done. He has to be very careful with how he maneuvers and how he engages. Not impossible. We can't afford another fungal. We can't afford another fungal here as we snipe some of those lurkers. Shin, he wants to dive in. You can feel it. He knows. He knows he's so close. Infestors, they have arrived. Can we land a fungal? Scan reveals the army. Gonna be rotating over and pushing up the ramp, avoiding those tanks. Fungal does connect with some of those ghosts. Not the best connection. Good EMPs. Again, Bunny, he's running out of steam here. Running out of units. He's got a handful of ghosts remaining. He will hold. Oh my god. He does kill top left. Does hold on. 12 drones have gone down. Can Bunny turn this around? I mean, Shin can remax. Bunny cannot. This ghosts are still alive. 4 more brutes on the way. Yeah, this is still really close. Shin is also running out of resources as well. I didn't realize that. I mean, we've mined out of the gold. We're mining out of top left. No more gases here top left either. Haven't saturated center right from the side of Shin. Uh-oh. Bunny can still take it. Shin, he has gas, he has no minerals. Uh-oh. Is there a world? Can Bunny bring this back? Need a good fight. We need some good snipes. Shin just trying to keep his opponent busy. Drones, they've been dying as they try to long distance mine. Have been falling. I do like this reposition here from Shin. He's going for the CC. He's going for the planetary. Ooh, and this is huge. The base is brought down. We deny mining here at the same time. Top left has been scouted. Just trying to get an eye on saturation. And this was it. This was the last mining base. Like Bunny, he has no more economy. Just now taking another CC to saturate. Bunny comes in, kills top left. Shin is mining from center right though, soon. So technically an economy for Shin. Now, what's scary here is that Shin was barely able to mine from this hatchery here, which means that Bunny could take this for his own. And if he does, wait, Bunny can max out. $1,000 gas still in this gas geyser. And Liberator trading well against the Hydras. The Hydras, they can't reach. No. The Hydras, they can barely reach. Oh, oh, oh. Not the best trade from Shin. First they come in, they snipe more Hydras. Very nicely done. Behind this, yep, another orbital's on the way. Bunny, he does want to expand. And now the onus is on Shin to make sure that Bunny cannot expand. Oh, here we go. Shin pushing forward. How many infestors? We have 6. 6 infestors. 2 move in. Bunny in position with his ghost. He's getting some damage done. EMPs do miss. They graze a couple of units. So 2 Vipers in the back line. Snipes going off here on the Broods. Big snipes. Brood Lords are getting picked up. A very efficient trade here from Bunny. Bunny, his supply barely moves. Shin is falling. Remaxing on more Lings. Good EMP once again on the Infestors. Oh my god. Bunny! Catch some Infestors. There's still Fungals though in the chamber. And Shin, he is gonna commit. Force his way up the ramp. Oof. But that was not a good trade. Does pull back, does regret his choice. And Bunny, he's closing the supply, he's closing the distance. Liberation has arrived. Big Fungal. Big Fungal on the bio. Bailings are rolling in. We're trying to collapse here on the Ghost. The Bailings, they chase the Ghost down. But Shin, can he collapse on them? He cannot. Gets half of them. Does let another Fungal, but Shin, he's running out of steam, he's running out of supply. The Ghosts live. They live, they snipe the Hydras. Oh my god. The Ghosts, they barely survive. GG gets caught. Shin had nothing left, that was it. And Bunny, he does come back, he does take the series 2-1. GG, no shot. GG, Bobby. Congratulations, Bunny does take it 2-1 there. He was in a really rough place. If you remember, Bunny, he was being denied mining, denied bases, but he had a more efficient army. And Shin took some very rough fights towards the end. You saw Shin bleed out all of his Broodlords. So all the Broodlords died. He had like 2 Broodlords in that final fight. We saw Shin commit into Liberators, then pull back as well. We saw him get EMP'd. There were like 3 things in the lead up to that final fight that were going Bunny's way, and Shin was hurting towards the end there. And at the end, he just pulled the trigger. He said, "Screw it, I'm just going for it. Like I can't handle this, not anymore." Pulled the trigger, and yeah, that's all he had. That's all he had left. Bled out his entire army. GG. Bunny takes it. Oh. Ah. Bunny does take it in the end. It was a wild back and forth, but again, Bunny with a more efficient army, despite having some, not the most mining, at least he was able to deny top left. Remember, he was just constantly denying the top left base. Shin, his economy wasn't, or his bank wasn't as large as it otherwise could have been. Some really rough trades towards the end. Congratulations. Bunny will take it. And with that, we have reached the halfway mark. Oh boy. It's been some long series, Papi. Some long series. We have reached the halfway mark here. We have a couple of TVTs coming up. We have Oliveira versus Bunny and Cure versus Bunny as well. We have 2 TVTs back to back. At the end of the night, we have Shin versus Stat. So we do have a ZVP to end it all, but a couple of TVTs to keep us busy. So 3 more series are remaining, and we are going to be going on a short break. It's going to be a short break here, especially after 2 series that went to the ace match and some very long games where if we need a break. Take this moment to get some water, to get some snacks, to recover yourself, and when we return, we will have that Terran on Terran action. Oliveira versus Bunny and Cure versus Bunny. See you then. welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that break. I know I needed a moment to stretch my legs and to gather myself here as we just wrapped up with two very intense best of threes over 1 hour long each, and we have returned with the second half of the broadcast with the remainder of our matches. Up ahead of us, we have Oliveira versus Bunny in a Terran versus Terran. We have Cure versus Bunny in another TVT, and we end the night with Shin versus Stats, a Zerg versus Protoss matchup to end it all. Again, this is still only the first half of the group, and we're going to be concluding Group B tomorrow. We're going to be cutting the Group B in half today. The other half will be tomorrow instead, just to break things up, just to make sure we have content for you every single day as well. Again, when it comes to ESL Open Cup Americas, I still have to collect those replays, and once we do, we can go over what we missed out on in ESL Open Cup Americas this week, which did occur a couple of days ago. But here we go, we're diving into this TVT between Oliveira and Bunny. Game 1, Solaris. Let's go. Let us go. And I'm really curious because I haven't seen as much Bunny recently, so I'm really curious to see if he has embraced the new Cyclone. I know Oliveira hasn't. We spoke about this yesterday when we were casting Ryung, but Oliveira, he has been going for this very tank-heavy style, or this really fast tank style from Oliveira, just a fast tech lab on that factory. I'm curious if that's going to be the case here as we get into game number 1, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Solaris, we have the red Terran player representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming. The Chinese Terran, it is Oliveira. Ooh, looks like there was a bit of latency there, but it has been cleaned up. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Terran player. The blue Terran representing Mystery Gaming, it is Bunny. Here we go. TVT is upon us. And again, most recently we were casting Oliveira in KSL in the online weeklies. We were seeing Oliveira go for these double gas openers into factory, into a single Cyclone, and then straight into tank production. And it does allow himself to go into these earlier tank pushes here. We're building up towards 3 or 4 tanks. I'm curious if that's going to be the case here at IEM, or if this is something that Oliveira was whipping out post IEM in these more recent weekly tournaments. I'm curious. Likewise, we'll see what Bunny does embrace, as well as he's going to be going double gas. Likewise, so is Oliveira. So double gas openers all around, leading into faster factories, leading into a more aggressive style. Here we go. You see Bunny opting to throw down his production a little bit further back here. It does keep it a little bit safer. Again, in case there was a tank push here at the third base location, or even outside at the natural, then his production will be safe here, away, out of range of said tanks. So this is just a part of TVT that you have to bear in the back of your mind. We can see here the factory is being thrown down. Again, the racks of Oliveira is more exposed, but only the racks, not the rest of his production, as we're working towards our factory and towards eventually Cyclone production. The Cyclones, Bobby, let's go. Let us go. But again, I haven't seen much of Bunny's TVT as of late, so I do want to see what he's made of. I do want to see if he has adopted the new meta, or if he's still playing the fire tank and go for like these Hellion openers instead, which is more of the craze of the previous meta, previous patch. You know, CCs are on the way, and there it is. We have our Cyclones. First Cyclone for Bunny. Oliveira is opening up with a Hellion. Interesting choice. Hellion into Reactor, into his add-ons. Meanwhile, yeah, this is a little bit more traditional here. It is going to be Reactored Reapers with Hellions. This is what we saw quite a lot of in the previous years of StarCraft. This has fallen out of favor because of the Cyclone openers and the Cyclone drops. So we'll see if Oliveira can make use of this. Ooh, as the CC is delayed, we do get a kill on that SCV. Good start here for Bunny. Does back up. Does come back home. Behind this, just building up his Cyclone count. We should be working towards a medevac and a Cyclone drop. There it is. Medevac is on the way. Cyclone drop on the horizon for Bunny. Very meta. Very trendy as of late amongst the Terran players out there. Meanwhile, Oliveira still committing here to more Hellion production and more Reapers. Is going up to 5 Reapers and I believe 3 Hellions. Yeah, so 3 Hellion, 5 Reaper push from Oliveira. His goal here is to get on top of the Cyclones and focus them down. If he can, then he can slow down Bunny and maybe even break into the economy, break into the mineral line. It is going to be a tough fight though. As Bunny moves out with the medevac, does get eyes on the push. Does see the army. Bunny does respond. Marines are amassing. We are on the high ground. Hellion goes down instantly, and just like that, oh, Oliveira loses a big part of his army. Has to back off. And the scary thing here is that these units for Oliveira don't really scale that well into the mid game. Bunnies do. As interestingly enough, Bunny is moving out with his medevac, not with his Cyclones. Faking out a drop, coming into scouts, trying to get a read of what's going on, and as he dips in, he will get eyes on the factory on the 3rd CC. Up, barely does. Gets eyes on the 3rd CC. And likewise, Bunny's got his own 3rd on the way back at home. So full scout does confirm that Oliveira is being economic, that Oliveira he's working towards the mid game. So now Bunny knows he is safe at home, safe to cut his own corners, to be economic himself. As now we're committing to a Cyclone drop. Back at the main base, tank production has commenced. We are keeping up with each other. Tanks start popping out. We're done with Cyclones, we're getting into Biotank. We only had enough Cyclones for the other game to survive. And now to harass. Bunny slipping into the main base. Oliveira is in position. Does respond. And does zone Bunny away. Good positioning here by Oliveira. Meanwhile, does dive in with his Reapers and Hellions once again for a 2nd time. But there's a tank. Oof. Tank quality goes up. Oliveira does at least confirm the tank, and oh, we try to drag the army in. Cyclones from behind, and we pick off every single Hellion. All 3 Hellions go down. Good control here out of Bunny. Good juggling. Oh god. Has to be careful. Bunny will force back the army. Behind this, getting into his 3-1-1 setup. Working towards his 3rd. Getting in position. And yeah, I would say that post early game, Bunny is slightly ahead. Landing his 3rd base on location. Oliveira slightly behind here in his own 3rd base timing. Just now getting into the rest of his Raxes. Again, the investment into Reaper Hellion wasn't quite worth it in the end for Oliveira, but he's going for a drop. He's going for a drop into the main. He can make this worth his while. Does get an SCV. Gets a couple of SCVs. 2 workers go down. Doesn't lose anything. Picks up. Gets the hell out of there. Efficient trade there from Oliveira. And he is pushing. Bold move. We have researched interference matrix for both players. It has been researched. Ooh, Bunny going to be using his Ravens to harass. Meanwhile, Oliveira, he has his Ravens to push. Workers are going to be going down. And this is some good damage, that is true, but Oliveira, he has disables available. And he will matrix tanks. One tank does get matrix, orders are thrown down as well. Boys are being pulled, and Oliveira, he can break through. And he shuts down the economy. 16 SCVs go down. 10 SCVs go down across the map here to the auto turrets, though. Damage is being dealt. Oliveira bleeding out a couple of units. Let's bleed out some of those Marines. And it looks like he will deny that 3rd. At the same time, trying to drop into the main. Doesn't quite make it in. But this is good damage here from Oliveira. He does take a worker lead, does take an economic lead. Bunny being punished for harassing with his Ravens and did not see the army. Up from here. Ooh, we do shut the tanks down. Not a bad trade from Bunny. And Bunny does have a supply lead, an army supply lead. That is true. But his economy, that's what's hurting right now. And the longer this goes on, the more that Oliveira can actually take advantage of that economy. have that reflected in the size of his army. Now, one thing that Bunny has that he will maintain, that he should maintain, even though he's rebuilding his SCVs, is that Bunny has a tank lead. Again, he was able to kill tanks, and Bunny didn't lose any of his zones. They were getting disabled, if you remember, but they weren't being killed. So if we look at the units tab here, Bunny has 5 tanks to the 2 of Oliveira. Because of that, Bunny can still take a head-on fight. He can still win head-on. So Bunny's army has to be respected. Well, Oliveira trying to drag him apart. Going for a double drop. Bunny fanning out some units, trying to get a read on what exactly is going on. Third CC's on the way for Oliveira, 2-2. This tells us, sorry, fourth CC's on the way for Oliveira, 2-2 as well. Tells us that Oliveira doesn't really intend to push out. Bunny can though, and here he is. Moving out with his tanks, with his ravens. Looking at the units as well. Did we keep the ravens alive? Oliveira, oh, he only has 1. He lost his other. Did lose a raven earlier. This is dangerous. We have 7 tanks for Bunny, but we have a massive counterattack. As Bunny moves out, Oliveira, he pushes in. Sips into the natural, into the main base, on top of the production. A massive move here from Oliveira, and he will get into the mineral line. Gets a tank, he gets SCVs. He will eventually be cleaned up, but he gets 19 SCVs in the main. Oh my god. Gets 19 workers. And just like that, Bunny's pretty all in. He's all in at this point. We are pushing. Oliveira has crippled the economy. He's going for another double medevac drop. Looking at the army size. He did kill a tank. Bunny does still have an army lead, a tank lead, but not as large as it once was. The scans, they reveal the army here of Bunny. Oliveira going to be rotating over, keeping up with the movement. And Bunny has to commit. Again, I do still believe that Bunny can win a fight, but it's not going to be as easy as it once was. It's going to get harder and harder as time goes on. The tanks are pre-sieged. Tanks are sieged up. Bunny stuck at the ramp. Liberator does rock over the main base. SCVs are going down. Bunny on sieges. But Oliveira does spot him. Oh, the tanks! Does him on forward. 1 tank goes down. We get a second tank. The Ravens they get caught out as well. And Oliveira, he pounces on the army. He cleans this up. And he will shut this down. Swallows up the Marines. The tanks. GG gets called. Oliveira takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. A wild move from Oliveira to go for that massive push, that massive counterattack. The moment when he was able to get behind the army, slip into the natural, slip in the main base. Well worth it there for Oliveira. He dealt so much damage, he bought so much time for himself, and he forced the all-in. I mean, Bunny was already all-in, but even more towards the end there. Oliveira in full control, able to take that first game. GG. GG, well played. Bunny, I would say, had a better start. Bunny had a better start to the game. He had a better early game, that is true. But as we entered the mid-game, winding it back even further, I would say that a deciding moment in that game was when Bunny decided to harass with his Ravens as Oliveira was pushing. And to be fair, Bunny didn't know that Oliveira was pushing. He didn't know that Oliveira was moving out across the map, which is why it's unfortunate that that happened to coincide with the attack. And as a result, the Raven NG was spent and wasted harassing instead of being able to be used defensively to defend against the push from Oliveira. That is when he gained momentum. That is when he gained his lead. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our Chinese Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Dragon Kaiser Gaming, our reigning world champion. It is Oliveira. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, representing Mystery Gaming, down in the series, looking to fight back. It is Bunny. Here we go. And we'll see how we change up our openers here, how we switch our openers. I would like to see Oliveira avoid the 5 Reaper 3 Hellion, or just the commitment into Reapers and Hellions as we saw in game 1. Wasn't quite able to do much damage at all, didn't do any damage actually. Was shut down and did not help Oliveira's early game. But we'll see. We'll see if he does invest. Maybe he could cut Reapers at 3 and only make a single Hellion. That's a bit of a safer way to open up. To focus on your economy, to focus on your transition. Could go into Cyclones. We'll see. We shall see. Ooh, as Bunny does open up double gas once again, going for a Rax into Factory. Meanwhile, Oliveira goes for an economic opener, goes for a Rax expand, as he has only taken a single gas geyser, so much more economic here out of Oliveira. Much more aggressive out of Bunny. Does mean that he will gain a Cyclone lead. Bunny is moving out. With this Reaper Scout, he's going to be able to confirm, of course, the timing of the command center. He could delay it as well. As the Reaper of Oliveira has arrived. Oliveira, I think, does shoot first. Yeah, barely. Behind this, command center on the way for Bunny. Getting into his 1-1-1. Into his 1-1-1 here, as a Bunny is still trying to test the waters, trying to delay the CC if at all possible, but it looks like it will finish. SCV will go down, and we are this time getting straight into Cyclone production. Cyclone from Oliveira, Cyclone from Bunny. Interesting, Bunny going for a Hellion into Cyclone, and with that he can barely break through. As I said, good target firing out of Oliveira. He does shut down both of those Reapers. Very nicely done from our Red Terran. Very good control. Yeah, Bunny bleeds out too much, has to retreat. Back at home, setting up for a Cyclone drop. Medevac is on the way to allow for that. Meanwhile, Oliveira back at home. How many Cyclones do we have? Still only 1. But now we're making 2 at a time. Let's go. So we should have 3 by the time the drop arrives. It's going to be close. Is going to be close, as Oliveira going straight for a 3rd CC. 3rd CC right after the starport. Very greedy, very economic here from Oliveira. We'll see if we can get away with it. Bunny with this drop should scout the fast 3rd. Should be able to, but we'll see. See, he's moving out. Moving out with a handful of Marines, with a Cyclone, with a Hellion. Does arrive at the natural. We'll get the Reaper at least, and we'll get a couple of SCVs. Does get 2. The lock-ons are too good. The medevac goes down, and Oliveira will completely shut this down. Very good juggling. Doesn't lose a single Cyclone. And Oliveira, he extends that Cyclone lead even further. Meanwhile, Bunny is the one going into a tank switch, into a tank switch, making as many tanks as he can. Now, we've spoken about this dynamic, but there is no interference matrix. I was about to say, there it is. It's in production. So, Bunny, he's not out of the woods yet. He has lost map control. He is working on tanks, but because Oliveira is building up his Raven count and working towards interference matrix, he can break this position. He can push in, disable both of the tanks, and break the natural. So this is not going to be easy for Bunny. 3rd CC is now on the way, but Oliveira, he's already got his own 3rd. It's already being landed on location. And he is not stopping Cyclones. We're moving out. We're pushing. Oh boy, how many Ravens do we have? Only 1 Raven, so we don't have that many disables available. We will take control of the low ground, but pushing into the main is going to be another task, another tough ask. Here we go. Over interference matrix finishing up in 10 seconds. And behind this, we're getting into mech. 2 more factories on the way. Mass Cyclone from Oliveira. Uh-oh. He knows, Bobby. He knows the secret. of Terran. It's make nothing but cyclones. How many Marines do we have? We have 14. We have a handful here at the natural. We have more in the main. Ravens are getting in position. They will have auto turrets to defend. Bunny should be able to hold here. It's going to be close. But if he can throw down his auto turrets, buy time here, soak up damage. Oliveira scans, waits for reinforcements. He's going in! He's committing. Does throw down the auto turrets. Doesn't disable, but yeah, he cannot break this. Now with 4 tanks, Bunny is looking solid. And Oliveira does have to retreat. But again, because he's playing mech of all things, he can catch up in tanks. He will catch up in tanks. Cyclone Drop is chased away. The scan kills a Viking. Does get a kill on the Viking. Bunny just now getting his own third base up running. Oliveira playing mech has the economic lead. Not like this. Ravens did survive. And we are producing 2 tanks at a time. For the time being, Bunny has a 3-tank lead. He's got 5 tanks to the 2 of Oliveira. But as we mentioned, that's soon about to change. The scan does reveal the mech. We see Cyclones, tanks, Hellions. No bio, no Marines. Bunny knows. Yeah, I think now is the time to push. While he has a tank advantage, he has to make use of it. Does have to press his advantage. Is moving out. Oliveira does spot the army, getting in position. Does siege. As in the midst of this defense, Oliveira, he even has some free time to go for a run by. Burst up some workers, 6 SCVs go down. Ooh, 7 SCVs even at the same time. Bunny, he is pushing in. Big disables here on the tanks. Forcing his way forward. Likewise, the counter disables as well, also on the tanks of Bunny. Cyclones, they've grown through all those Marines, all those Marauders. The Vikings, they take control of the skies, and we can land on the tanks. Tanks are going to be going down, forcing the friendly fire. Ooh, at the same time, though, they're dropping to the main. Oh my god, 20 SCVs go down. You know what's crazy? Bunny kills 20 SCVs. Oliveira, he's still only down 2. He's down 1 worker. That's how far ahead Oliveira was. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, to be fair, he also killed 10 workers across the map, but again, Oliveira was that far ahead with his faster third, with his economic opener. 4th base now being taken. And as the dust does settle, again, Oliveira, he now has the tank lead, building up his Cyclones, building up his Vikings. Did lose a lot of Vikings in that skirmish, in that fight. That is true. And Bunny moving out towards the 4th base. Oliveira not quite in position. Uh-oh. 4th is under fire. Drop comes back into the main. Bunny pulling Oliveira apart. Will collapse here on top of that CC. Command Center does catch fire, but does survive. Has Bunny going for another drop into the main. And there's nothing here. There's no turrets, no Vikings, no Cyclones. Do boost in. Speaking of Vikings, they try to rotate over. There we go. Finally, turrets are being thrown down. They're on the way. Bunny is still in this. He has a 4th. Oliveira doesn't. Not yet. Tank shots are going to be going off. pushing on 40. He wants the CC. He gets it. Gets a kill on the orbital. Bold move out of Bunny, but it does pay off. It does get it in the end. Big tank shots going off as well. Oliveira still ahead in the economy. Well, still ahead in the worker count. Just needs a base. Shop comes in. I've got Vikings to defend, and Oliveira, he's pushing right through the center. He doesn't care. He's had enough. Moving right through the center. Tanks are going to bleed out. Only one of them, though. Yeah, he has the high ground. It does defend. Marauders come in. They take down 2 tanks. Not a bad trade. But Oliveira, he's trying to go for the kill. Going for the throat. Had enough defending. Disables the tank. Bunny is down to 5 tanks. It's still on the way. Coming out of the production. The volleys take off. They shut down the bio so hard. Bunny, he cannot push into this. It's not happening. Not into this many tanks. And Oliveira knows it. Yeah, he takes control of the 3rd base. He fans out. He peels up a couple units to head towards the 4th. Both bases being denied. Cyclone's going in. Bunny, he cannot drop even. There's too much on the ground. GG gets called, and Oliveira will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Oliveira does take it here. Again, we saw some nice moves out of Bunny this game. He was able to go for gets quite a lot of damage done with his drop play. That is true. He was able to get a kill in the 4th base. He forced the push from Oliveira as well, forced the attack, but he wasn't ready for it, is the problem. Oliveira, he had reached a critical mass amount of tanks with that tank transition. Not just that, but remember, Oliveira, he got away with a fast 3rd. It was an economic opener with a Rax expand into a fast 3rd base. His economy was insane, which is why even though Bunny killed 20 SCVs, it was only enough to equalize the workers, not even get ahead. That was crazy, by the way. So again, the economy of Oliveira out of control. Into mech of all things, so his tank count got out of control, and GG. GG, well played. Solid game there out of Oliveira. Flexing his mech in game 1 and his bio tank in game... Sorry, mech in game 2 and his bio tank in game 1. GG. With that, Bunny was looking strong earlier against Shin, but alas, does falter against Oliveira, and the TVTs are going to be continuing here as we get ready for Cure versus Bunny. As a reminder, this is the group stage of IEM Katowice, and it is round robin. So everyone plays everyone. Everyone plays against everyone. A lot of matches were played out in the group stage. A lot of matches were had, and I'm ready for some more TVT action. Gibbs, Bobby Gibbs. As we're getting into game 1 on Solaris. Here we go. Being ready for that game number 1. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Solaris, we have our South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. His relatively new team, it is Cure. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Terran player, the red Terran, the South Korean Terran representing Mystery Gaming. It is Bunny. We go. And we saw pretty dynamic TVT already, and I mean, that's what we can really get, especially when we get into the mid-game. TVT can be a beautiful sight, and we have yet to really embrace Cyclone versus Cyclone. Oliveira was massing Cyclones earlier, and oh, let's go, as we are going for a proxy Rax. Now, this is not the most committed build from Cure. We have 1 Rax back at home, 1 Rax proxy, so it's going to be 2 Rax Reaper here from Cure, and with this, he can apply some pressure. He could gain quite an advantage especially if Bunny goes for an economic opener, which it looks like is going to be the case. So, okay, Bunny is going for a Rax expand, single gas opener, which means he's going for a CC before factory. Without the factory, no Hellions, no Cyclones. It's going to be delayed Hellion, delayed Cyclone production. There is a window where Cure will have a Reaper lead, and if he can get on top of the factory and kill the SCV before the factory finishes, Cure could end the game. He could just end the game here. It's going to be close. I mean, boys are going to have to be pulled. We're going to have to pull a couple of SCVs. We'll see what Cure can get done. CC is on the way. Reapers are going to be amassing. We're moving out. As Bunny likewise moves out with his first Reaper. And will he scout? Oh, oh. He will not. He checks the right-hand side, but he doesn't go far enough, and he will not get eyes on the Rax. He's checking the left instead, making sure he's safe and sound. Factory is on the way. It's almost halfway done. And Cure, he does end up bypassing that Reaper, goes for the natural base, gets a Marine, gets the Reaper. Reaper is gonna be going down. Ay, ay, ay. Trading out beautifully here, Curious. He takes down the Reaper, takes down the building SCV. Factory still on the way. And we're getting out of hand. We're getting out of control. Does bleed out a Reaper. But this is already good damage here by Cure. He doesn't stop the factory. It will finish, but he's done damage. Gets into the main base. Going for more damage. Going for more SCVs. Getting more lost mining time. As we are now up to 3 Reapers. The Marine goes down. Hellion is still on the way. Not like this. And this is becoming game ending. That is 3 more workers going down. Natural base is still not done, and we should be rotating over. Hellion has arrived. Okay, we should finish the natural base. Back at home, Cure is expanding. He's waiting for his Reapers to just regenerate their HP. Generate their health. Natural is done. Now 2 Hellions. Ooh, big volleys going off. Reapers are getting roasted. 1 Reaper goes down. That was still a good trade for Cure. He has lost 2 Reapers so far for 5 SCVs. Reapers, Marines, Hellions. The delay here on the natural base. Lost mining time as well. Oh, and now he's got Hellions of his own. Cure just rallying across the map, not slowing down. Finally, he does lift up his Rax. Going for some high ground vision. Oh, he's going in. Gets another Hellion. Uh-oh. Gets another Hellion. Gets a second as well. And Cure, he breaks through the defensive line. Breaks through the army. And it looks like the Cyclone is going to come out just in time. But we're still losing. We're still bleeding out so many workers. The Reapers are surrounded. They get the Cyclone. No shot. They get a kill on the Cyclone. And there's nothing here. There's nothing. There's only workers. There's only SCVs. Oh my god. This has gone from bad to worse. As again, this build wasn't necessarily meant to kill his opponent, but it is. Here he's killing Bunny. 11 SCVs go down. A Cyclone has arrived. And Curie has control of the production. He's just camping the production over and over again. Nice juggling, but GG gets called and Cure takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. A solid game there at a Cure. Again, this 2-Rax build wasn't meant to kill. It was meant to get some damage done and give him a slight lead, but things just snowballed out of control. Really good job of Cure to just pounce on those units. He just dove on top of the Marines, the Reapers, the Hellions, the Cyclones. Just whenever a unit popped out, he would just dive on top of it immediately. Make sure that Bunny was not able to muster up and build up an army at all. He was just picked apart. And just like that, Cure takes a lead in the series. Does take a lead, and now we're getting into game number 2 on Hard Lead. Interesting. I believe this is going to be the first time we're playing on Hard Lead the entire day. It's a map that we have since avoided in the previous matchups. I'm excited to get into it. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hardlead, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0, popping off hard in that game number 1. Ooh, can he close it out? Or will he be forced into the ace match? It is Cure. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran representing Mystery Gaming. Having a really rough early game in game 1. Hopefully we can bounce back. Hopefully we can force the ace match. It is Bunny. We're doing it again. Let's go. This time we're going for a proxy 2 racks. Last game it wasn't as committed. Remember, last game it was 1 racks proxied, 1 racks back at home. This time we may as well proxy both racks. This is going to hit harder. This is going to be more committed. Thankfully, Bunny is going for a double gas opener. So, if you remember, another reason why it was so successful last game is because Bunny went for a Rax expand, and the expansion didn't help whatsoever in the defense. This time, Bunny with a double gas opener gets into a faster factory, faster helium production, will have a faster and stronger army early on. It is a safer way to open up. And on Hardlead, it makes sense. Hardlead has the shortest rushes to spike ground in the entire map pool. So you want to be playing safe or aggressively as well. Cure, he's massing up Reapers. Now, what is scary is that this will hit faster. This build from Cure hits faster, so we can still deny the factory. We need to finish this factory. If we do not, it's going to be over. Likewise, Bunny hasn't SCV scouted. He hasn't seen what's going on.
Complete.
If he did, he would have pulled the SCVs prematurely, and the Reaper is actually going to scout. Reaper does move out. Bunny going to be checking here up the ramp. Oh, does get shot first. Cure getting a lot of hits already. Does get a lot of hits in. Boys are being pulled. Factory is on the way. You can see Cure trying to lay it. Second Reaper has arrived. Factory, it looks like it's going to finish. Oh, it's going to be close. Does finish in time. Does kill the SCV 1 second too late. Hellion is on the way. We get 2 SCV kills so far. Oh. Ooh, and Cure, he saves the Reaper. Oh no, I spoke too soon as he does bleed out one of them. Does overextend, and Cure is transitioning. Factory's on the way. Bunny, he's holding. He has held. He has a Hellion, he has a Reaper, has Marines, has the high ground. Cyclones in production. Bunny has weathered the storm. And again, thankfully, Bunny did go for the double gas opener. Did allow him to get this defense up and running. We survived. We have survived. We can sink our teeth into game number 2. As we have a Bunny getting into a CC on the high ground, very safe command center. Makes sense because he does not have map control. Meanwhile, Cure going for a CC on the low ground because he has map control. Here we go. So the game is going to be stabilizing from here. Both players are working towards their starports. This should be for medevac production and for drop play. Oh, as Bunny is going into a very fast tank, by the way. I just did realize that is a tech lab on the factory. Really early tank production. Meanwhile, Cure is amassing Cyclones. He is amassing Cyclones. Medevac is on the way for that drop, as we did mention. Likewise, Medevac on the way for Cure. So both players are going to be active with their drops. But again, Bunny is foregoing Cyclones in favor of tank production. As the first tank has arrived. Rax going to be taking a lot of damage. Army is moving out. Okay, we have Reapers on one side. We have double Cyclone on the right-hand side. Bunny going for a faster TC. A very defensive style here. Very turtley style out of Bunny. No, he's pushing with his tanks. Uh-oh. I assumed he was going to be setting up defensively to protect this third base, but no, he's moving out. Does decide to move out instead. At the same time, here come the Cyclones. Cyclones into the main base. There's not much at home to defend. SCVs are going down, and Bunny, he's committed. There's no turning back. Not anymore. We delay the third base. We camp the production. SCVs are going down. 5 workers were on 1 base. The tanks have arrived, and Bunny has to make this worth it. Does have to make this worth it here as he's getting a lot of damage done on the CC. Can we lift? The CC is so low, he does stim on forward, and that's going to be a kill on the natural base. Cure down to 1 base economy as well. 1 base versus 1 base. The boys are being pulled. It looks like we're breaking through. Cure, he does go to the distance, gets on top of the tank. The tanks go down. Cure, he does defend. Meanwhile, across the map, looks like we lost our Cyclones. Bunny likewise also defends. And this is getting quite rowdy here. Okay, so Bunny, he's up on bases. He has a natural, he has a main, he can produce 2 workers at a time. That is true. Look at the armies. He did lose his tanks. He's rebuilding, trying to get his first tank up and running now. Cure is going for a big push. And the tank isn't ready. Oh. Tank is not ready. Stim isn't done. Well, Stim isn't here either. Vanilla Marines to defend. Bunny trying to hold on. Auto turret gets thrown down. The Marines go down. The auto turret adding so much DPS. Cure, he's broken the natural. Boys are being pulled. Where is the tank? It just now pops out. But it may just be too late because it is exposed. It's all we have. Tank shot goes off. Cure re-establishing his natural. Up in workers. Do we have a disable? We do! We have the disable! Boys are being pulled! Not like this, and so much economic damage being done. We have a 4th Cyclone. The Mad Cyclone breaks on through, and it looks like Cure, he has done it. He has broken Bunny. The tank falls. The Marines get picked up. There's nothing left. We have 1 more tank here in the main base. But we dive on it. And Cure will take the series here. 2-0, taking down Bunny. GG. GG, well played. A very aggressive style here out of Cure. Game 1 going for a singular proxy racks, a 2 racks opener. Game 2 going for a proxy 2 racks. What I will say is that this time Bunny had a much cleaner, a much stronger start to the game as he defended against the proxy 2 racks. The follow-up was so risky though. Again, remember, Bunny, he opened up 3 CC with early tank production, and he went for a tank drop across the map. He was crazy. Went for a tank drop. There was nothing back at home, so his own economy was also crippled as he was doing damage across the map. So the game got really chaotic. It turned into a slugfest there towards the end. And in the end there, because Cure was amassing Cyclones, he did overwhelm his opponent tanks. They're expensive, they take a long time to make, and we saw how long it took for 1 tank to pop out. By the time the tank arrived, the Grand Army had fallen. By the time it arrived, we had nothing left at the natural. Bunny just couldn't keep up with the production of Cure. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Cure, as Bunny has been struggling. Bunny, he took down Shin in a TVZ, but he fell to both Oliveira and Cure in the TVTs. Bunny having a hard time here in the group stage, at least in the TVT matchup. But now we can take a break from the Terran versus Terran, and we are getting into something different. We're going to be featuring the rest of the races here in StarCraft, a ZVP between Shin and Stats. Here we go, the final series of the broadcast. Our 5th series of the broadcast here. Again, we've been casting quite a lot. And especially the first 2 best of 3s, they were long ones. They were some long best of 3s. Went to the ace match, a lot of late game as well. These TVTs have been a little bit shorter. Now it all comes down to Shin versus Stats. Let's go. Again, Stats, he didn't have a bad showing earlier. He was able to bring Oliveira to the ace match at least. But Stats, he's still a returning player, is still trying to recover the skill that he did once have. And he has been putting in quite a lot of work in the lead up here to IEM. But here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have our South Korean Zerg player. The red Zerg representing Mystery Gaming. It is Shin. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player. Representing himself, currently teamless. It is Stats. A shout out to Shin, by the way. It was so wholesome. Shin, he had an interview. Oh, never mind. Hold that thought as we're going for a proxy hatch. Hold that thought as Shin is going for a drone across the map. He's looking for, I imagine, a hatch block. Here we go, just waiting a little bit longer, going for the natural base, and he does throw down the hatchery, disrupting the opener of Stats. So the way this works, this is not, we're not going to be finishing it. We shouldn't finish the hatchery. This is just designed to delay the mining and disrupt the economy. This is the equivalent of an eBay block in PvT, for example. So boys are being pulled. We do have to pull 6 probes to DPS down this building. Again, this is enough DPS to stop the production of the hatchery. Zealot should be on the way as well to force a cancel. Shin may even cancel and throw down an Evo chamber just to delay the expansion even further. Behind this, we do have a gas into spawning pool, into hatchery. So this is not an all-in from Shin. It is just, again, a way to slow down the economy of Stats. There's a cancel, drone survives. And if Shin has it in him, oh, he's going to delay the expansion even further. Oh my god. Is again being as annoying as possible. He could go into the main base. He could try and go for a gas steal as well. We have seen Dark do that. Speaking of, the drone does get into the main base. Can he get the gas? Does he go for it? Oh my god. Not quite. Stats quick to pull the boy. Quick to get in position. Denies the gas. And does force Shin back. For those that are curious, if you have a worker right up against the gas geyser, it does count as being in the way of the building. So you cannot throw it down. Or the opposing player can't throw it down. So that's why the probe was on hold position there. To make sure that Shin didn't steal it. And now we are getting back into this. The game is going to be settling. Shin is double expanding, getting into a macro game. Pulling workers here once he gets 100 gas. Not rushing into a fast lair. No Baleen bust, no roach rush. Just getting into ling speed. And we should be droning. Oh my, even delays the Stargate. So this is a rough start for Stats, sorry. It's a rough start for Stats. He has been quite delayed. Has been slowed down. It's gonna be on Stats to find some counter damage here. Gets across with an Adept. With a second Adept. And he will shade in. Shin, he's even doing his best Protoss impression. Delaying mining here in the main base. Disrupting the mining, I should say. Even stealing a mineral before being killed. We do see Stats threatening a shade, but it looks like, no, we do get us around. Oh, this is a rough moment. Yeah, both Adepts will fall. And we can't afford to lose these Adepts. With the death of these Adepts, that means the third base for Stats is going to be delayed. It means it's going to be that much more difficult for Stats to expand. Shin should be counterattacking. And there we go. He is sending out his Lings. Now, these Lings, they shouldn't push into the natural, but their goal is to have a presence at the third and get a kill on that probe. He's going for it. Does see the probe. Goes for the Adept. Doesn't quite get it. Oracle's in position. Oracle is in position, and Shin doesn't collapse on that worker. Goes to the Adept. He will get it. Another Adept goes down. Oracle, it's out of energy. Not like this. Out of energy. The pylon is going to be denied. We shouldn't cancel the Nexus. It should finish. As the Lings, they do back off. Behind this, we're going to be expanding. Sorry, taking our gases. Saturating our third. Shin being as active as possible. We are going into a Ling flood. A little bit surprising. Not expecting 18 Lings, not at this phase of the game. Looks like Shin, he wants the third. Oracle gets a couple of drone kills. But this third base is looking so exposed. There's no shield battery. Only one adept. And we do get a surround here from both angles, from both ends. We go for a warp in, but all three adepts are going to be going down. And the pylon. Oracles, they come back home. They save the pylon at least. They do save the pylon. But Shin is just going to be droning. We have a Ro24 on the way, followed by the Lair for edge speed. Shin even threatening a surround on those Stalkers, forcing the Pulsar Beam to be activated. Death of that Overlord will supply block Shin. Oh, that is 7 Overlords on the way. That's a brutal supply block. So a nice moment for stats. Supply blocking Shin. Outside of that, we have our transition. We are going into Twilight Council Forge. It's going to be +1 on Blink. +1 on Blink on the way for stats. Followed by the Robo. The Robo tells us that it looks like we're not going for... We shouldn't be like hitting with 8 gates or anything like that. It looks like stats that may just turtle up and work towards Colossus. Given the early game, that would make sense. As Shin is working towards Hydras. Okay, so not committing to Lingbane Roach Ravager. He has Roaches, yes, to begin with, but we are working towards those Hydras. Meanwhile, we spoke about how it looked like Stats was playing defensively, and he is. He walls off with these gateways. That is a Bay on the way. He should be working towards a second Robo and double Colossus production. It's a very tech-heavy style. Because of this playstyle from Stats, it means that Shin has a lot of freedom, and if Shin realizes what's going on, he should be free to throw down a Lurker Den, an Infestation Pit, and work towards Hydra Lurker Viper. That is going to be available here for Shin, if he so chooses. Overseer's on the way, still lacking scouting information. Still trying to piece together what's going on. Still is attempting to. Now, what is intriguing to me is that Stats didn't throw down a second Robo. He's only making 1 Colossus at a time, which is interesting to me. It does mean that he has extra resources to invest into his Gateway army instead. So Stats could be moving out. I mean, he is. Prism to harass, Stalkers through the center. Link run by threatens a counterattack. But Stats does push onto creep, but we have Hydras lying in wait. And it will defend. Adepts into the main base. We have plenty of queens in position. And Shin, he's cutting workers at 3 bases. 67 drones. That is all he has, and he's maxing out here on Roach Hydra. Very interesting unit composition. Colossus has arrived. We're breaking through. Good stasis trap here at the ramp. Shin cannot push up, as we essentially have force fields. And we're about to have a second Colossus, which is going to help. Do you have another stasis trap set up? We can see Shin getting ready for this round. Does come in from the right hand side. Big stasis once again on the Lings. Shin is forced back once again. He wants those Colossus. It looks like he gets them. Does snipe one, and he barely gets the other as well. Big pickoffs here by Shin. Gets both Colossus, and now what is left to stop him? Only Stalkers. +1 Stalkers at that. Stasis trap going to be going off. Lings, they flood in from the right hand side. The stasis has run out. And Shin, he's broken this third base. Again, a really strong start for Shin. And he snowballed out of control. Was never in any danger. Barely lost any workers across the map to any harass. And GG gets called. Shin takes game number 1. GG. Again, a very chaotic start to the game there for Stats. Just really awkward because of the hatch block, because of the dead adepts as well. So he couldn't harass, he couldn't go for any adept harass across the map as he had lost his adepts. And he had to reinvest and even forced to keep his oracles at home. Remember, despite the oracle opener, he didn't harass across the map at all because of the lings. He was stuck at home. He was just stuck at home the entire time. Just really solid play there from Shin. And with that, he is leading the series at 1-0. It's a best of 3. One more game and Shin will take it. Stats needs to fight back here and now. Game 2. Alkione. Let's go. We're gonna be going from one of the smaller maps in the map pool to one of the larger maps in the map pool instead. Let's go. As spawning in the top right hand corner, we have our South Korean Protoss. Our South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, currently teamless, looking for a team. And of course, returning from the military, it is Stats. Is Stats himself. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player. The Red Zerg representing Mystery Gaming. Leading the series 1-0, it is Shin. Now, oh, never mind. We're going for the gold. I was going to say what I wanted to say before I was really interrupted by the proxy hatch of Shin, but being interrupted again as Shin is going for the goal base. Very aggressive opener here by our Zerg player. Very confident play as well. Oh boy, Stats. Can he scout this? And if he does, can he punish it? That's the better question. Now, what I was going to say very quickly is that Shin was so wholesome at IEM. For those of you that maybe missed the interview, he did have a bit of a spotlight and he was given an interview and he was asked why he name changed, right? Because for many years actually, Shin was known as Ragnarok. He was known as Ragnarok. That was his ID. But last year, at the start of last year, he name changed to Shin. And, you know, he was finally asked why. What was the purpose? For those who don't know, Shin is his real name. We already knew this. Shin, it's his IRL name. It's part of his Korean name. But he was asked specifically, like, what sparked the name change. And he did mention that he was at he made his GSL, if you remember. 2 years ago, he was in the GSL finals against Maru. We don't have to talk about the outcome of that finals. It was a brutal event. But he made it to the finals, and he spoke about how his parents went to the event. His parents were in the audience. They were in the crowd. And he said that his parents actually couldn't pronounce his name. They had a hard time pronouncing his name. Again, because of the Korean language, R is pronounced like an L, and it was a little bit awkward for them. And they had a hard time, like, saying his ID and stuff like that. So he said, you know, because of my family, because of my fans and stuff like that as well, did want to change my name and went for Shin, went for his IRL name instead, which is cute. Like, I like that. For family, papi. His family did name change to Shin. That was the reasoning for it. So we have some backstory on that. We now know why. Why exactly. So yeah, it was really cool of him to share that information with us. But for the time being, we're diving into this game, and we have opened up with the goal base. It has been scouted, has been spotted. We have a Stargate opener here by Stats. Should be getting into oracles, and the question becomes, Stats, with these oracles, with these adepts, can we punish the base? Meanwhile, Shin does slip in with a handful of lings, going straight for the natural base as well. Probes are going to be going down. Oh, lost mine time. 2 lings in the natural, 2 lings into the main. Adepts, they race back home. Mining has been disrupted. We do get eyes on the Stargate. We get eyes on the Oracle. Shin now aware of what's happening. Gets a probe. Almost gets 2. Does get 2. 3 probes go down as 2 lings in the main base at the same time. Shin controlling on 2 fronts. Pulling Stats apart. Gets 3 worker kills. And the Oracle is now moving out. But we have a Spore on the way. We have a Queen in position. We have more lings flooding out across the map. The goal here for Shin may be to force Stats to keep his oracles at home to defend. As Stats, he does catch that Stalker. And he will get a kill. kills the Stalker. The Overlord survives. That was the only anti-air. It was a costly investment for Shin, but it does mean that his Overlord survives. It does live. Adepts, they get across the map. Things they get here just in time. Ooh, good target firing. Adept goes down. We're down to 1. 2 Adepts, 1 short drones. 1 Adept doesn't. So isn't as threatening. Is more manageable. Oracle's come in, but the Spore is ready. Shin, he is ready. He is in position. You get 2 drones, which is 3 drones actually. Oh my god. 3 workers go down. Not bad. But stats, he needs more. He is looking for more damage. Behind this, we have a Twilight Council. Where's the Forge, by the way? This looks like Glaive Adepts. There is no Forge for stats, and there it is. Glaives is going to be on the way. Very common transition here from the Protoss. Island goes down. Very common specifically against the gold base. You know, right now, stats, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure to punish this gold. So his answer to that pressure is going to be to go into Glaive Adepts. Can he pull this off? Spine Crawler on the way. Ro24 in production as well for Shin. He's not cutting corners. He's playing it safe. That is a lot of Adepts. Looks like we are moving out a little bit ahead of time. Glaives is still halfway done. That's applying a bit of pressure. Forcing out roaches. Forcing ourselves. We commit to the shade. No! That was a bit of a lapse in judgment here. We commit to the shade and every Adept is going to go down. We do not get into the mineral line. We get 1 shot off. That is it. Ay, ay, ay. And Shin, he has other plans. So usually when you take the gold base, it's so we can be aggressive. You don't take the gold to be macro oriented. And there it is. We're going for a Queen War. Queens are waddling across the map. Roaches and Ravagers are amassing. Lings are on the way as well. Shin is going for his own all-in. Stasis Trap not going to finish. Adepts, they're getting surrounded as well. Almost. Not quite. This creep is being spread. The army's still amassing. Do we have a transfuse? Ooh, we do miss it. Much transfuse there towards the end. Queens are going down. Good trades for stats, actually. He gets 4 queens. Almost 5. But very nice trades here. As he gets a 5th queen. And where are the roaches, by the way? Oh, they've been chasing the shades the entire time. Finally, we can surround this. Finally, we can collapse on this. But we lost 6 queens in the process. Good start for stats. Uh-oh, where's the shield batteries? Shield batteries aren't ready. The shield batteries aren't ready. The ground army isn't here. The Biles, they shut down the shield batteries. They do fall, and we're breaking on into the natural base. GG gets called stats. He has nothing behind this. He did well with the Adepts initially, killing queens, but that's all he had. And Shin will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Shin, as he will come out on top here, will bring stats down. Again, Shin, he came in as the favorite player, and he had some fun with this series. Game 1, he went for a hatch block. Game 2, went for the goal base. Oh boy, just his aggression, just having a little bit too much aggression, too much momentum on his side, and stats was having a hard time keeping up with Shin. GG. GG, well played. Again, stats recently I keep saying recently. Last year, he came back to the scene after his military service, and he's been working his way up, you know, up the ladder, up the ranks of the Korean players. Still has been struggling, I will say. A big reason for that is because he hasn't devoted as much time to StarCraft. He isn't a full-time player, for example. Isn't full-time anymore. But with his travels to Poland and with stats qualifying for GSL, I have hope. I have hope that maybe that is enough to motivate stats to commit and to practice, to do customs, to ladder, to improve, and to bounce back. I'm hoping that's the case, but time will tell. You know, GSL is in a month. I think slightly less than a month. So we'll find out, right? We'll find out stats' form in a month in GSL. Not going to be easy. Not going to be easy whatsoever for Stats. So we do wish him the best. Meanwhile, congratulations to Shin for that. For that series, and that will be concluding our broadcast for the day. That was 5 best of 3s we just went over. There's still 4 more ahead of us, but that's a lot of matches. That's a lot of matches. We're going to be casting the remainder of Group B of the round of 24 of IEM Katowice tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be Clem versus Clem is also in this group. The reason why we haven't casted Clem yet is because Clem was mainly featured on the mainstream. He was mainly featured on stage on the mainstream, and we are only casting side stream matches because I imagine most people watch the mainstream. So going over the side matches instead. So Clem was mainly on there, but up next tomorrow we have Clem versus Shin, we have Cure versus Oliveira, another TBT, Clem versus Bunny, more TBT action, and Stats versus Cure. So we do have 4 more best ofs tomorrow morning in just under 24 hours. So look forward to it. Do look forward to it. More StarCraft is to come. Meanwhile, once again, when it comes to the ESL Open Cup Americas, we may cast that tomorrow as well. We may go over that. It does depend. It does depend on whether I can get my hands on those replays tomorrow or the day after. Just quickly checking our calendar here. We have time to slot it in tomorrow on... Wait, today's Thursday. God damn. Okay, tomorrow on Friday. So we could have an ESL Open Cup Americas cast on Friday or on Sunday. Those are the 2 days that we have available. So we'll figure it out. We'll see where the broadcast is held. Keep an eye on our social media. Keep an eye on Discord. We will be posting when we go live with it, as we did miss out on it this week. As ESL Americas is a pretty bad time for us nowadays. Pretty bad time, so we will find a time to cast it. Otherwise, thank you. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. A big shout out to Kuro for handling these overlays. We have our lovely IEM logo and the planets behind us rotating. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, Pappy. Shout out to the other CranKy Ducklings as well. We did recently announce that the Sparkling Tuna Cup is returning soon, TM, in the coming weeks. On Sunday, actually, it is coming back. And our amateur tournaments, Sea Duckling Open and Master Swan Open, are also returning. They're also coming back. So plenty to look forward to. Plenty of StarCraft action up ahead of us. Plenty of StarCraft to come. So yeah, look forward to it. Look forward to it. If you want to support our tournaments, !Patreon. Patreon in the chat does fund Sparkling Tuna Cup, Sea Duckling Open, and Master Swan Open as well. It is all funded via Patreon, and you can grow it via Patreon as well. If you so choose, you can support us there. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. We will see you guys tomorrow for the remainder of IEM Katowice Group B. See you then. Till then, hasta luego, papi. Hasta luego.
Making history. Absolutely phenomenal.
And Ace is the champion of the Intel Extreme Masters World Finals.
Storm's still not quite done. MC is going to take this fight, though. 3 seconds left.
Last 2 rounds of passion's got to start it well for ESC.
And this is a massive move for Zez, but he's not content with just a Nexus kill. He wants to win.